Warning: the Dub Talk podcast may contain language and content that may not be suitable for all you youngsters out there. So listener discretion is advised. Second, this episode will contain spoilers for Space Dandy, so be careful if you haven't finished the show yet. Finally, the views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of the individual participants and do not reflect those of the Dub Talk podcast as a whole. But hey, don't let the disclaimer get to you. Whenever life gets you down, boobies get you back up again. You just read my mind, baby. Huh? I found you, faker. You're the faker around here. You compare yourself to me. You're not even good enough to be my fake. You are so mean. Right back at you. I'm you, okay? Well, I'm you too. Who are you? You. And who are you? I'm me. I'm confused. What was the whole point of this bit again? Who cares, baby? Let's get this party started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Dub Talk. Yes, I'm your master for tonight, Space Dandy. But you can call me Jamal. And with me on my ship tonight, my crewmates, I think she said her name was Miriam, but I just call her Megan.
Yo. Also, I'm hungry.
But with me is also my trusty companion, Jet, or JT for short.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop. Hello.
Join us on our merry adventures as we travel with space to hunt down dubs. That's right, baby. If you can't tell by the groove tonight, we'll cover the 2014 Bones animated show, Space Dandy.
Man, I swear, they'll put anything in space nowadays. I mean, we had Power Rangers in space. I mean, they put Tim Curry in space. And now we have Johnny Bravo in space.
I was gonna say, I cannot believe that Florida Man has extended into space.
You say that there's apparently a flash flood warning down here today, so...
All I hope is that you do not drive through the flash flood for the elusive shrimp.
Do not hydroplane for the food. That's what our crew tried to do for the last 26 episodes. But it's funny because Space Daddy's a unique episode for one or two reasons. For one, it basically pioneered what we now know nowadays as a simuldub. Although it turns out this wasn't the first attempt that the dubbing industry has tried this before, because I think you mentioned something like this a while ago, Jet.
I was like, oh yeah, the first simuldub was technically Kuro Kami, which I don't think anyone really remembers.
Is Kuro Kami anywhere legally streaming?
Fun fact, that was one of the shows that was supposed to be picked up by Sentai back when Sunrise was doing that thing where they were giving away pretty much all their old catalog titles to Funimation and Sentai. And that was one of the ones Sentai did not release. So, it's in limbo.
Oh no.
Kind of a shame. I mean, that did have a pretty good dub cast. Fun fact, that show starred, I kid you not, Laura Bailey and Jason Griffith.
So Toru and Griffith went into space.
Yeah, that was a very interesting time. But what also makes this episode very special is that today is my birthday.
Yo, happy birthday, Jamal.
Happy birthday.
And it's funny because this year I thought I'd pick a fun one, and then I realized I kind of have some history with this show. Because let me tell you, 2014 was a pretty shit year for me, mostly. 2 years out of college, I get fired from my second job. I lose my grandma. The same day I lose my job, she gets cremated. The world loses a legend in Robin Williams. I started probably my most high anxiety job as a dishwasher ever. Which, let me tell you, once you come out of anxiety, you'll become a better person for it. Although you'll have periods now and then, but during that time, Space Danny came across as something special because it was the likes of which the world had never seen before. A cyber in this day and age, at the same time as the Japanese, that was unheard of even now. But it paved the way for not only the Japanese staff, which some of them were kind of pretty small name at the time, except for one. This takes place in the Shinichiro Watanabe verse.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, this show is a surprising who's who with animators in hindsight.
Not only that, it was also the platform for a lot of these larger stars you see nowadays, like people like Clifford Chapin, Megan Shipman, Rico Fajardo, all of them. Hell, I was surprised to even hear Cliff in 2 episodes of this.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when I looked at the credits and I saw Rico's name, and then I was like, huh.
Yeah, and then somehow, after everything changed, the show just somehow faded into obscurity.
Yeah.
It was kind of Netflix famous for its time. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Enough blabber. You probably want to know what the show is about, don't you? Space Dandy. He's a dandy guy in space. He travels upon the Aloha Oi, searching for creatures that are friendly and not. And that's the TLDR of it, because trust me, if I read the description of the Blu-ray, you still wouldn't be able to comprehend this show.
Yeah,
it's just us.
Yeah, the plot doesn't really matter.
It doesn't until it does, somehow.
There is one plot that matters in Space Dandy, and it is found below the waist.
Booty.
It is the state fruit of Georgia.
This show is basically just like Shinichiro Watanabe just gathering up all his friends and being like, hey, so here's this guy, he has a pompadour, he's in space, he has the talking cat and a robot, and he likes boobs. Go nuts.
Do you remember that episode of Cowboy Bebop that happened when they all got high off of the rotten fridge food?
Oh, kind of funny you mentioned Cowboy Bebop, because...
Imagine what was going on in that fridge. That's what Space Dandy has always been to me.
Or at least until it hits me out stomach. No, seriously, the show is so apt on references, especially Cowboy Bebop references, that on the Blu-ray itself, on disc 1, there's a trailer for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I do think... Yeah, they do have the same currency, so it probably takes place in the same multiverse, technically.
Yeah, the currency, the fridge, there's a lot of stuff. But we ain't got time for all of that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But enough scrambling. We should probably get on to the ADR portion of this episode. Because this was such a new process, there is a large ADR staff here. We have 2 directors and 5 scriptwriters. Our 2 directors are Joe McDonald and Zach Bolton. Joe McDonald, you've seen him direct other shows such as Assassination Classroom, Bento, Dead Man Wonderland, Data Life Season 1, and One Piece. Zach Bolton, you've also seen him direct Arya the Scarlet Ammo, Brigada HK, A Certain Magical Index, A Certain Scientific Railgun, and Death Parade. Our scriptwriters are Bonnie Clinkybeard, who's also written for Black Butler, Noragami Aragoto, and Soul Eater. Jamie Maki, who's also written for Blood Sea, Data Life Season 1, and Kami-sama Kiss. John Bergmeyer, in addition to being the head writer for Funimation up until 2018, he's also written for Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, Kadocha, and Soti Ray. We also have Marco Rial, who's been for Bento, The Angel, and Fairy Tail. Last but not least is Patrick Sachs, who's also written for Gretzko, Drifters, and Gamers. So, we're going to go round robin for this. Who'd like to go first?
I guess I'll go. So, so I think given this was Funimation's first venture into the world of simuldubbing, I think they did a pretty good job with it on the whole, and that the dub is pretty solid. Having said that, I do think that like early on, I think there was kind of a notable difference in quality and direction between the episodes Zach Bolton directed and the episodes that Joe McDonald did. Mainly that the episodes Joe McDonald did kind of had a little more energy to them when it came to like a lot of the comedic timing. While in the Zach Bolton episodes, it was kind of a little more hit or miss. Sometimes it could sometimes be a little flatter than I would have liked in that area. I mean, admittedly, Zach Bolton has kind of been a little hit or miss for me as a director. But in this case, I think it kind of had more to do with the fact that he's generally kind of tended to specialize in doing a lot more like dramatic or darker stuff, like, you know, your Future Diaries or your Darker Than Blacks and not so much comedy. So I think that he kind of had to like figure out how to handle comedy with this show as he went along. And like, to his credit, I do think he improved on that end as the show went along. And after like the first 6 or 7 episodes, I think until when Zach's direction became a lot more seamless and it sounded consistent no matter which of them was directing. So, definitely improved on that end. And I'm glad it did because, this is a fun show. And script-wise, the dub is also pretty fun on that end. There are a lot of really great one-liners sprinkled throughout the show. And similar to the Japanese version, I think having so many scriptwriters for the dub was actually to the show's benefit. Because the show has so many different moods and each episode is pretty much something different, I think that in having a lot of different scriptwriters for the dub, it kind of helped to capture the mood of whatever any given episode was, and kind of helped to capture the tone of whatever was going on perfectly. So on the whole, pretty happy with this dub. Had some minor growing pains, but looking back on it, it was still a pretty fun time.
Yeah, I think what? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh no, you can go first.
Okay, so I think it was, I was watching the episode commentaries for this because I'd been following the show again through Blu-ray, which, let me tell you, as soon as I started the show, it was like a trip and a half going back in time, which no pun intended. One of the reasons there was like maybe a inconsistency in certain things was, one, there was a new process to them, because I think hold on, Joe explained that they had to hit the ground running like from the moment they got the Japanese footage.
Mm-hmm.
So they took about a day and a half to translate, a day and a half to script write, and they would record, review, and send the episodes to Cartoon Network within like a week. And then Zach explained that like they had to like condense the process. It usually takes them like 4 to 6 months down to 2 weeks. So every step of the process was like 1 to 2 days. And then not only that, because they were doing this as they went, when they auditioned, they didn't have anything to go off of. Now, maybe an audio only track at times, but like Zach and Joe said that some of the auditions kind of went off pictures, you know, kind of like your old prediction methods where we used to do predictions, Megan.
Mm-hmm. I'd look at a picture and go.
It's basically the same point they were doing, so it was very unique, and of course it was definitely not an easy process. So, but they managed to make it work, and I know that at some points they said that like some of the episodes were recorded out of order, as we'll find out later on. But I think for the most part, everybody did a solid job. And it's amazing, like, other than maybe like some obvious episodes you could tell certain people wrote, you couldn't really spot any differences because every show had a different story, and it just kind of, that's another thing too, they kind of had to alternate with the direction, with the script writing, depending on who was available, because availability was the big factor at the time. Like, if you weren't available to do this, then, you know, you'd probably be somewhere else in the show if you were to be in the show at all, you know?
Right.
But I think for the most part, everybody did a standout job, and for something that paved the way for that, like, even now, 8 years later.
God, the fact that this was 8 years ago just made me, like, cringe into a singularity at how old I am getting.
Same.
So, would that singularity be the first dimension or the zero dimension?
Yes.
Ooh, boys, I'm good. What are your thoughts, Megan?
So, I was the person who had never seen the show until now. I'd maybe watched, like, an episode or two, like, out of there, but, like, Space Dandy was one of those things, like, I was the last person to be on the bus for, hi, buddy. Sorry, the cat just came over. Hi. So, speaking of cats, Meow, my Meow isn't here, but she doesn't wear Crocs like actual Meow. But, for me, the thing that works the most about this dub is that they got the right 3 people for the core member of the Aloha Oi and the supporting cast that you see a lot more. And I think that a lot of what they were able to bring in for the episodic stuff was great. Some of it, I don't think maybe has aged as well in 8 years. Some of it has aged well in a way that we don't want to talk about. But overall, I think the casting work is done, and I find it really funny that Joel McDonald was one of the people who did this, because he would go on to do their, like, second simuldub, which was Laughing Under the Clouds, which I might need to rewatch the commentary, but I genuinely remember when he cast that, Joel had to sit and ask Chris and Dave Trosco if they were going anywhere for 3 months. And then he literally didn't tell Terry Doty and just had cast Terry Doty. That's how much faith he had in her for that. So, writing-wise, I do think that this is a show that definitely took advantage of the fact that, like Jet said, this was, hi, my name is Shinichiro Watanabe, this is my friend Shingo Natsume, would you like to make an anime with me?
I think the series can be summed up as, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Dandy would be the guy who yells, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. So, I think that worked out, but the thing that I think we kind of have to talk about is that Space Dandy really did change how a lot of writing is done, and in a sense, did its legacy at this point work out for the better or for worse? But that's, like, final thought stuff. But as a writing piece, I really liked it. There's a lot of really good one-liners. There's a lot of references to stuff. But overall, I think that because of the way that the series itself was presented, getting to be a little bit more wild with it was probably appreciated. Because they kept definitely the spirit of the show. But at the same time, can you really tell which version has the real spirit of the show? Because technically we actually got ours first. Because I believe English Space Dandy would come out a day before Japanese Space Dandy.
Yeah, basically. I do remember Dandy himself saying that it was all about timing to come out at or before the Japanese to keep the jokes kind of fresh, because if they were to come out the other way around, it would not have landed as much.
Yeah, and even then, it's kind of debatable if how much cat, how much Space Dandy really did take off, because like I remember there's like an article in ANN which is why didn't Space Dandy take off like Cowboy Bebop did as a cultural phenomenon. But I think there is still just this underlying respect for the show in general, even if it's not getting the, like, I don't know the better way to describe this, the flocking seagulls of Finding Nemo just screaming peek at everything.
I think it's a show that like people have kind of like come around to more with time. But like when it was airing, Toonami tried really, really hard to market it as the next Cowboy Bebop, which probably a mistake given the nature of what the show actually is.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is a lot more. Is to me definitely, I think, the stronger written show. Like you don't go into Space Dandy expecting like a lot of the way that God, I'm trying to think of this. The way that Cowboy Bebop does, which is a lot more overtly political at times. Like, there are kind of some political episodes of Space Dandy, but there are also a lot of Space Dandy episodes that can be summed up as herder titty. Or ass.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's kind of funny, like, how for the most part, Space Dandy just seems like a series of stories. Like I said, it doesn't seem connected until it's not. So the fact that you kind of have to just go with the flow until the very end is like... And it's kind of funny because there was some scenes that some actors were kind of surprised. When we get to be, boy, do I have a story for you. I'm sorry, finish your thoughts?
Oh no, I'm done. You're good.
Okay, so... But yeah, for the most part, it's been a wild ride. I guess the other thing I would say is not about the destination, it's the journey.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And going on this journey, we have the crew of the Aloha Oi. So we're doing something a bit different this episode. We're going to start with the Aloha Oi, end with the Aloha Oi, but we're also going to have a little bit of fun in the middle. Which you will see soon, shortly, viewer. So we have the titular Space Dandy himself, Dandy. Just those nonsense alien bounty hunter searching for the rarest species he can find, just to line his own pockets, basically. He has his partner, his trusty vacuum cleaner QT, who speaks with an R2 kind of voice, which I find to be the very fun part of Space Dandy, because you never know what kind of languages you're gonna hear in this show. Together, they try and capture what they thought was a rare alien, meow, or meow. A Beetlejuicean who, like Dandy, is also a bit of a pervert. Matter of fact, Dandy thought he was a rare species because at first he had a sticker from a boobies on the side of his face, and distinguished himself so much that Dandy tried to capture him throughout the entire boobies restaurant. And of course, he causes nothing but trouble, but turns out there's a very special secret involving Dandy, but we'll get to that. But playing these three, Dandy is played by Ian Sinclair. Meow is played by ADR director Joe McDonald. And QT is played by Alison Victorine. So, Ian Sinclair, I mean, what hasn't he been in? We haven't heard him already. He's Zap Redford in Blood Blockade Battlefront, Tsukasa Shishi or Dr. Stone. Joe McDonald, you've heard of as Yuga Aoyama in My Hero Academia, and Brief in Patty and Stocking. And Alison Victorine, you've heard as Kuroko Shirai, the Raildex franchise, and Sherry Blendy in Fairy Tail. Now, I think we're gonna go group discussions from here on out. Which character y'all want to start with first?
I'll start with Cutie, because, yeah, I thought Allison did a good job. I kind of actually like the weird auto-tune filter that they give Cutie.
Yeah, gives me some T-Pain vibes. Hey there, girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy myself a drink. I'm QT. You see me. Conversations never bothered me.
That's the episode where QT falls in love. That's it. That's the entire summary of the episode.
Yep. Yep. So I gotta say, one thing I really appreciate is that even though QT the robot and would therefore be the smart one by default, it's clear that between Dandy, QT, and Meow, they all share only one brain cell. And while QT probably has it the most out of the three, he's as stupid as the other two. And I think that Allison gets that across pretty well, which is always a lot of fun.
Collectively, there are no brain cells and no bitches aboard the Aloha Oi.
Just like episode 4. That's the zombie episode.
Oh yeah. Just God bless QT. I love the part. I think my favorite QT moment, other than the part where QT becomes a kaiju, is just Allison's delivery. I think at one point where they're like trying to process so much data and they just can't anymore. And I love that. Right? I also love when QT just decides, I like fishing.
That was beautiful.
I know, right? I mean, especially the Comedionian episode, because
yes,
it's like, oh man, that was a fun episode to do. Because
my black Suchi no go.
So it's, man, it really feels, I really do appreciate the joke that like Tsunoku is just like common in that universe apparently.
Yeah, just also, what next thing you're gonna tell me the robot is? No, the thing tied up next to me was one. And just Allison's like trying to just keep on. It's just like, oh, cutie honey, they're so dumb.
I thought that Allison did a good job switching between, sometimes being the voice of reason for the trio, and then more often than not, just kind of going along with Danny's shenanigans, or just very clearly missing signs that he's in danger while making both sound like they can somehow cover the same character. Like there are a couple of situations where like Danny's very clearly about to die, and like QT and Meow are just kind of sitting there like, oh, well, I guess he's sleeping.
Yeah. He's not dead, he's just sleeping.
Yeah, I'd say that Dandy, QT, and Meow as a trio are almost an Ed and Eddie kind of thing in a sense, except, you replace Eddie with Johnny Bravo.
Yeah. For what it's worth, QT, even though it's supposed to be a straight bad, it's definitely dumb, especially with that whole, what was it, episode 3, where he bought all those expired space meals just because they were cheap. To which, oh boy, when we get to that episode, that's gonna be fun.
Just QT just like, I did it, and it's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, but again, the best part about QT is not only the auto-tuners, where he gets his own episode, so. And then you come to find out he falls in love with a coffee maker. Was willing to do anything for her, even go onto his dream island, which is not a dream at all, just to try to bring her back. Come to find out she's in love with the cash register played by Chris Kaysen.
There's always someone else.
Yeah.
Who then became a revolutionary and tried to destroy all of mankind.
As you do, because, you can't have a robot without at least one robot revolution in there somewhere.
Yeah, guess we should have seen that coming as soon as we heard Brandon Potter.
Viva la revolution.
So I think it's good to move on from there. Y'all want to talk about Meow before we tackle with Andy?
Yeah.
Meow and his Beetlejuicy and Crown Jewels. Which, Joel McDonald's really good at playing horny losers, let's be real.
Pretty much.
Yeah, he is very good at that.
That's his typecast. And Meow is the biggest loser. I mean, who the fuck wears Crocs everywhere in space?
Yeah.
Like, I will say, though, that the episode where they get stuck in the time loop at his house was genuinely very touching. And that he got cock-blocked because of lesbians.
That was great.
To the point.
Yeah,
to the point.
I'm gay. No! That's it, we're leaving.
Takes a chainsaw to a calendar.
Like,
Which I
There's the whole episode where I think he gets... I'm trying to remember, there's one episode where he gets eaten and they just turn in the alien and they just forget that he's just in there.
That was great.
Just goodbye. Oh yeah, that's the spoiled food episode.
Yeah, it was that one.
Yeah, he just dies in that. Like, there's a lot of episodes of Space Dandy that just end with the crew getting, like, destroying the universe, dying, getting maimed.
Yeah,
like...
They, Dr. Gel, and B have all died at least, like, 3 or 4 times. I'm pretty sure Scarlet and Honey are, like, the only ones in the main cast who, like, never explicitly died on screen. Except for the final episode.
They die in the final episode, technically, but then they all come back to life because the show's a giant time loop. But, like, Joel's just makes me out, like, both loving and pathetic at the same time. And, like, he's got the confidence of... Okay, he's got the confidence of a guy who went to the anime convention, spent 3 days in the gaming room, and then asked why he was maidenless.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate that while, like, Joel does a good job of making Meow kind of sound like the normal one of the main trio, he's also just the most consistently dumb in situations, and Joel gets that across really well. And he's also done a pretty good job playing the butt monkey because Meow probably suffers the most slapstick next to Dandy, and it's pretty funny.
I will say, though, Joel's female cat girl voice was kind of cursed. But nothing was more cursed in the entirety of Space Dandy than the episode with the strings and depressed Dandy universes, QT.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that thing was horrifying.
Yeah. Admittedly, like, depressed Meow was also terrifying, but, like, QT scares me.
Yeah. I don't fear things, but that thing scares me.
Yeah, pretty much. I had 2 drinks today, might as well have a third.
Yeah. But going back to the episode where, like, he goes back to his home. I definitely did like Joel's kind of somber delivery there. Especially like during the scene where he kind of like works with his dad to fix the time loop and kind of acknowledges that there is kind of more value to how mundane his dad's life is and he thought there was, and I thought it was pretty sweet for the show. Also, shout out to David Wall playing the dad. He did a pretty good job there.
So fun fact about that
was that David Wald, really?
Yeah,
that was David Wald.
So fun fact about that episode. Apparently Joe was sick when they were about to record that, to the point I think he asked Zach if like he could cast the family, to which his voice was a little bit scratchy, so he casted some scratchier people to voice his family and stuff. You got David Wald, you got Brittany Karbowski, you got Cynthia Kranz, and one of his friends is good old Marcus Stimick.
Yay, Marcus Stimick!
To which, when I listened to the commentary for this, I couldn't believe what Hardy actually said he was true. He sounds like a drunken Harrison Ford. I mean, God. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of Marcus Stimick, our good friend Josh was talking about the anime. How do you pronounce it? Aoshi?
Yeah.
Aoshi?
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 Aoshi is, I think, is how it's pronounced.
Aoshi. And I just remember him being like, there was something about, like, Marcus Stimick playing, like, a high schooler, and my entire reaction, like, that being weird, I'm like, not really after they cast him as a middle schooler in Assassination Classroom.
Wait, wasn't he at the beginning of high school in Assassination Classroom?
No, they were all in middle school.
Yep.
Yeah, they were all in middle school trying to get into high school.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's been a hot minute, so Thanks to me. I know that Joe was very enthusiastic when he was assigned to be on this show, and we're going to transition into Ian, because it was one of the things he talked about with Ian the most about the show, like, to the point that when the audition came up for him, Space Dandy, he got to phone his agent and screamed real loud in his ear. Because,
God.
Yeah, when you get a chance, you gotta check out not only the commentaries, but Dandy Guy in Space. I think it's on disc 2 and 4.
The live action ads.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that, but yeah, the live action ads. Yeah, he basically admits after the show, like, that he is Dandy and Dandy is him. Because he described it, what does he say he described it as? He described his voice as a combination of Zap Brannigan, Matt Berry, and Robert Goulet, with a little bit of Joey from Friends.
Okay, thank God they said Zaf Brannigan, because that was the biggest vibe I had the entire series, that he was just Zaf Brannigan.
You want vibe, apparently for research, when they, So for research, what they said was for research, they spent a lot of time at, restaurants. You know, your Hooters, Also, shout out to Twin Peaks. I did not expect them to get mentioned there because I actually worked there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a regional Hooters, which at least the food's better than Hooters, but that's not the point. So basically, they did a culture immersion for this show, I would say, because this is the first of its kind, and Ian as Danny was definitely a delight to hear.
What is the big Texas restaurant? Hooters is the Florida thing. Like, we created Hooters, Florida. We are the reason why Hooters was unleashed onto the earth. As one of the very, very many sins of the state of Florida.
I drive by it every time I go to the mall. I always wonder what it's like in there.
I'm just gonna say the Texas restaurant's just Twin Peaks, because like I said, I worked there. It's a more regional Hooters. I can understand from a Dandy perspective, to the point I've actually seen Rico Fajardo the job training video, but that's kind of
I see. I've googled what a Twin Peaks is.
Yes, I don't mean the show from ABC either. Ama, if you're listening.
So there's Twin Peaks, there's Hooters, there's Wing House, there's the Irish one, which I forgot. I think it's called the Twisted Kilt. Why does Megan know about restaurants? The world may never know. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I really like how... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead.
I really like how Ian just hang on this character, like, just like that, he's just going with the flow, right? Because other than the directors, even at the last minute, they don't know what's going to happen to them. They don't know where the show is going to go, so just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, I thought Ian did a really good job of getting across a lot of Dandy's kind of general goofiness. He made him sound like a guy who thinks he's larger than life and pretty much wants everyone to know it, and that's always fun. I will say to tie into what I said earlier with the direction, I do think he sounded like maybe slightly less energetic comedy-wise than I was expecting for like some of the early episodes. It might have just been the direction, or maybe he tried to figure out the performance under like a tighter schedule than he was like maybe used to. And but given how great Ian generally is in comedies, I was expecting to be like blown away immediately, and it took maybe a few episodes, but like, but after that, he was pretty much fun the whole way through. So can't complain.
Yeah, like, this is, like, Ian's most iconic role of all time. Like, I would say it's either this or Weiss would be his most iconic roles now.
Probably, like, this, Weiss, and maybe Tsukasa Dr. Stone.
I don't know about Tsukasa. Hi, that is under my desk.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not like Ian was like an unknown actor before this, but like.
Yeah. Oh God, no. No. I was gonna say if I had to think of like, I can't really think of what Ian's third like super iconic character would be. I wish it was Zap from Blockade Battlefront because I think that is, as much as Dandy is a really really good comedic Ian performance, I think Zap is even stronger.
Oh yeah, Zap is great.
Yeah. Hi, Shinya, stop being a turd bucket. But no, I think I definitely agree that it takes a little bit to get it kind of like going, but like once you get there, it's really good. And one of the things I also really want to applaud Ian is that for as much as this is a weird kind of sex road trip comedy at points, the show isn't afraid to take its time to get, if not exceptionally weird, just very like philosophical or like tender. The highlights of those being the episode with where he has the little girl that he's trying to take to get turned in. When he gets to hang out with Pup.
Yeah.
And then of course the Space Dandy Dies episode.
Which one?
The one that is explicitly about him being on the planet that is death.
Yes. Yeah. I thought he did a good job of showing like Dandy's more like serious side in a lot of his episodes. But I think for me, the one where I was kind of like really surprised by like how much he was able to kind of make Dandy sound a little more like subdued while so clearly being Dandy was probably the episode where he was fake dating Scarlet, because even though Dandy is Dandy, you can tell that he really did kind of want to make that work into something more.
Oh yeah, like no, they were a great couple for each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that came out really well in his delivery, so it made the end of that episode hit even harder.
Oh, and also, shout out to him when he's got to play the multiple different versions of himself. In the Cosmic Strings episode.
Oh yeah, that had to be a nightmare.
The fucking trucker dandy and depressed dandy.
I'm a little happy and sad we didn't get She Dandy. But...
Don't worry, we got She Meow instead.
That's it, yeah, and also, even though it somehow slipped my mind into that until now, I gotta say, like, he did an impeccable job on that singing number there.
Oh yeah, he does sing really well in this, because he gets a couple of times where he sings, like, he's got the episode with Johnny that he sings really well in, and then there's the entire High School Musical episode.
I remember in the part 2 of the special features, he said he was kind of very nervous about singing, so.
Yeah, like, he's not a bad singer, like, at all. Like, I remember... I was actively remembering, like, he was actually surprisingly good in Sarensomni when he sings.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if this predates him being cast as Brooke in One Piece or not.
When the fuck did they start? When did Funimation start dubbing One Piece?
They had it since like 2007, but I don't remember when they got the Brooke.
Yeah, because they started, they were doing it in like two directions, where they were like doing the stuff for Toonami so that they would have flowed into that, and then they were also going back and doing the beginning of the show. Also, I might need to take a break to use the bathroom in like a minute.
Yeah, I gotta charge my battery, so.
He debuts in episode 337, which is I don't know English information. Okay. This would have predated it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that air date was 2016.
Oh, okay, so this might explain why he got cast in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, definitely, yeah, he could definitely sing, like, so, like, good on him. Thank you for reminding me that there's a couple of musical episodes in this. Yeah, you can finish up your thoughts on Dandy. I was good.
I think while finding Dandy here, are we good to move on?
Yeah.
Alright, so we're gonna move on to some of our core cast members. I want to say the villains, or I don't know, the
the attempted villains.
Yeah, I was gonna make this joke later, and as we're talking about them, but might as well make it now. They are effectively the Team Rocket or like Skull Trio from Time Book out of this show.
I mean, look, there are a bunch of space cases. Either that is the life, liberty, pursuit of dandy, you know?
Just, not the weirdest thing I've seen the Statue of Liberty being used for in space.
Ah, yes, the Planet of the Apes reference.
Yes. Also potentially a Spaceballs reference.
Yes, speaking of Planet of the Apes, we have some of our attempted villains, Dr. Joe, who is apparently described in the commentary as a gorilla in a pimp suit.
I mean, yes.
Gifted scientist, public villain. He's assisted by his assistant, B, this little pea-sized thing. I forget what he was called, but he's very nondescript, very self-aware. At one point, he realizes he dies every week at the show.
I need to go on vacation.
And then we come to find out a huge plot twist, which, oh yeah, there's also a side plot in the story involving a couple of warring space forces. I guess it would be, also a Legend of the Galactic Heroes reference too? Or?
Yeah, I appreciate how the show is just like, oh yeah, there's this war going on in the background, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, between the Go-Go and the Jaiko Empire, which I realized as of episode 2, I think that's a pun on Google and Microsoft. Because he talks about, we're gonna have to find space that we got to use Go-Go Galaxy Street View.
Yes!
I was like, damn, that is apt. So it turns out B, who was assisting for the Go-Go Empire, is a spy for the Jaiko Empire in the last episode.
But then he decides, fuck it, I'm my own boss.
See, in any other show, that twist would be really stupid. But thankfully, Dandy doesn't take itself all that seriously, so it's actually amazing.
You would think so, but there was more to it than you think. Yes, the Jaiko Empire is war with the Go-Go Empire that's led by Admiral Perry. As it turns out, his avatar is a disembodied figure.
Okay, yeah, see, that choice actually bothered me more than B being evil. I wanted him to just be like a scary skeleton guy.
Yeah, he's a disembodied head. I was gonna say he's their obligatory Inferno Cap reference. He's their Studio Trigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say ineffectiveness, kind of going back to the whole like Taibokon joke. He is effectively God. Let me see if I can find my notes. He's essentially just like Dokorobe from Taibokon, and that he's essentially just a very mean and shadowy boss who exists in the background, but mostly just who punishes his minions in incredibly funny ways whenever they screw up something.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Or as one voice actor described his true form, Kaiser Soze is Admiral Perry, basically. I think I don't know what show that's a reference to, but yeah, sure. And then we have the narrator, who's, as it turns out, is basically the embodiment, the voice of God, essentially. He's just sitting in the background observing Daddy, breaking the fourth wall every so often. At one point during the Cosmic Strings episode, you can hear like 4 different versions of him. It was just fucking hilarious. But yeah, he's definitely the most self-aware of the group. To the point that when all is said and done, the end has come. He makes Dandy an offer he couldn't refuse, and Dandy refused it.
Wait a second, you're telling me that if I become gods, I won't have a body and therefore I cannot touch tits? Yeah, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Boy, man, let me tell you, playing these four. Dr. Gel is played by J. Michael Tatum. B is played by Micah Solusad. Admiral Perry is played by Kent Williams. And the narrator is played by R. Bruce Elliott. J. Michael Tatum referred to as Sebastian Michaelis in Black Butler and Sir Hammerlock in Borderlands. Micah Solusad referred to as Gakushu Asano in Assassination Classroom. And he's Tomokamu joined the Raildex franchise. Kent Williams referred to as Mao Darker Than Black. And Hattori Soba in Fruits Basket. And R. Bruce Elliott referred to Cinnamon Quates in Bakudo. And Makarov in Fairy Tail. So, how y'all want to start this discussion?
I'll start it off with the narrator. I think R. Bruce Elliott's narrator is really funny, and I also really like when the narrator breaks the fourth wall, or fourth wall stuff happens to the narrator. Specifically, the Cosmic String episodes where they all kind of have a different voice.
Yeah,
basically.
Or just there's one part where the ambience things gave the narrator a laugh track, and that was uncomfortable, and I loved it.
yeah.
R. Bruce Elliott was a fantastic narrator / god. I feel like he is definitely. I think the thing that works with him is that R. Bruce Elliott has. I don't know if Jet's gonna get this because Jet doesn't watch the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. He very much has Charles Dance reading music lyrics from the Big Fat Quiz energy going on, which that is some of the funniest shit you'll ever hear. It is sometimes. Okay, no, Charles Dance does the film reviews. I'm trying to find out who does the music ones.
I think it was not Jon Snow, Jon something. I think it was Jon Snow, I think.
Yeah, I think it is Jon Snow.
Yeah, I do like R. Bruce Elliott's performance a lot. Honestly, and probably a controversial opinion, I think I would say this might actually be my favorite performance in the dub.
And you know what? I can't fault you for that because as they... who said it? Hold on, let me look it up.
Yep.
I think it was... Sorry. I think it was Joel or Zach that said, the thing with Space Daddy is that there's something for everybody. And so, hey, if that is your favorite performance, go with it.
Yeah, I think what works for me with R. Bruce Elliott's performance is that he does a very good job of sounding, very dried and bored in a way that makes him sound like he's just, completely disinterested in, whatever is going on in the story he's narrating. And
he's I've seen this shit for so long. Please get me out of here.
Yeah, I appreciate how he manages to do that without sounding boring himself. And, that's an incredibly tricky thing to pull off, and definitely trickier than people give credit for, but he does that really well, and it's always funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I especially appreciated how well he manages to keep up the board-sounding narration, no matter what the mood of any given episode is. And how he somehow manages to keep that delivery in even when he's giving very silly lines like, bring your bay to Planet Trendy. And the fact that he, manages to, deliver lines like that while also leading into the very bored narration is just, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, but I think, probably, one of my favorite parts of his performance was, during the whole reveal that he's gone. And then, because, that is, maybe the one time where he breaks us out of boredom when, Danny's yeah, nah, I'm out. And he's wait, no, what are you doing? Stop.
Oh, man. And then he inadvertently sets off the Big Bang, and 14.8 billion years later, here we are.
Yeah. Just I just love how it's congratulations, you've created a universe where there is no God. There is no God. And all of us, and Danny was okay, cool, bye-bye.
But I think, what, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was good, you can go.
But I think one of my favorite things was with the Cosmic Strings episode where he's explained all the consistent inconsistencies that happened. Because, of course, he's basically a plot device until he isn't. And then he brings up the last straw for the daddies, which was boobies. I was Oh man, the narrator's just
the one thing that they could all agree on: tits movies.
I don't believe that scene predated Skate Infinity, but I think I'm gonna say they did a pretty great job as the narrator to the point. Okay, so what you don't see, view is for some reason I decided to make character guides in this show in case we don't have a certain understanding of characters, like they can't recognize what they look like or something. So for the narrator, I just put a picture of Bruce Elliott. They're gonna cut that.
I mean, it works.
It works, yeah. Because there's no way he could be one of the birds. But bonus points if you know what that's a callback to. Hey, it's fun because on the last episode commentary, you get to hear the latter three talk: Kent Williams, J. Michael Tatum, and Michael Sosa. To which we should probably go to Kent next because his Admiral Perry. It's not always very deep, but I like the effect that he took, the reverb effect he took to his voice.
Yeah.
It had been a hot minute since I seen this show, and it took me a while to remember because he was only one scene. That is actually not his true form because he's just been using oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I think Admiral Perry's been a VTuber the whole time.
Man, that scares. That's actually not where I was going. That's actually not where I went with that. I was thinking more like a Wizard of Oz scenario where it's just kind of like do not look behind the curtain.
They did mention that in the commentary, that scene, but also if you think about it, when they're approaching the Go-Go Space Force on the home planet, on the home satellite, it kind of reminded me of the Emerald City from the Wizard of Oz. And again, I thought that was very apt too. So, I mean,
yeah. The performance is a lot of fun. Like I was saying before, he just does a very good job of sounding like a very kind of mean cartoon villain of the week boss, where his job is essentially just to be in the background, like punishing his minions for being stupid, and Jet really does a really good job of sounding constantly irritated.
He's also stingy as fuck.
Oh yeah. Yeah, straight up only to destroy a planet so he doesn't have to return a library book.
Yeah, just him getting mad about the expenditure reports. And Jel's like, you stingy bitch. He's like, what'd you say?
Yeah, because I think at one point, he tried to blow up a plan to the library book. He borrowed for Dr. Gel, to which... Shout out to Britt April in that episode, even if I can't remember it anymore.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Space Dandy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But no, seriously, that episode is pretty cool, pretty unique, and of course, this is so which we'll never see again. Yeah, but yeah, he just wanted to blow up a whole freaking planet because of an overdue library book. I mean, I've seen people go to worse troubles for a library book in sitcoms, but come on.
Sometimes you just want to avoid a fine.
You'd rather look fine than pay a fine, And then there was the other time where he gets on Dr. Joe's case about something he bought recently, which it turns out an invention B had was a device he bought, which was it plays sick beats, but in the process it fires missiles at the same time.
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, it's very great.
I think Kent does a good job being that over-demanding boss and Perry. He's kind of the person I thought would be that character.
Yep. Oh, it's just so sweet. I was gonna try to transition to either be a Dr. Joe, but I don't know which one y'all want to go with because, woo boy.
I feel like it probably would be only fair to say Dr. Joe for last.
Yeah, B is... I like Micah's tone as B, because I think this was another one of those, like... Micah had been an established actor for a while, and he had been in a lot of stuff, but I remember this being kind of like a big Toonami thing for him. Though I think Soul Eater was Toonami at one point, was it not?
Soul Eater did get out to Toonami eventually, but it took a while.
Was it before or after Space Dandy?
I honestly do not remember.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it was probably before Space Daddy because I remember watching Soul Eater after I got out of college. That was like 2012 around there.
Okay. But I like his tone for B being this kind of like weird higher register for Micah, and I don't think they used an effect on his voice. But he very much came off as the, oh no, I am so small, please don't hurt me. Call an ambulance, but then at the end, not for me.
Yeah. Also, I checked out of curiosity. Soul Eater was 2013 aired on Toonami.
Okay, so it was like a year after this. So people knew who he was, but like, I think it's just, I thought by the way, his death screens at the end of episode 26 were a choice.
Yeah.
I think that the reason why Micah's performance works is because he is so pathetic sounding most of the show. Because B is a spy, so B has to sound like, whoopsie doodle.
He kind of has
Dandy. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, you can tell that this is a guy who's just like very clearly not being paid enough to like put up with any of this, and he's just kind of very tired of being pushed around by his mean bosses. So as soon as he gets a chance to betray them,
so you guys want to know the interesting thing about B? So apparently, when they were auditioning for him, Zach came across him in the hallway one time. I guess he was probably doing Soul Eater at the time, and just approached him all of a sudden, and then pulled him into a room out of nowhere. Kind of a similar process. I want to say it's a similar process to Tatum, where he did Black Butler or Quail, whichever one of the shows he did that he was tricked into. So basically, they pulled him into this room, and they looked at him. I guess he and Joel got together, just kind of examined his voice and asked him to audition for the show. At which point he was scared until they let him know that they wanted him to audition for the show, which he did.
Come into this room with me. Why?
and of course he got the part. But what you didn't know was apparently the whole thing with episode 26, not only the cast, but the crew itself hit the twist for both Tatum and Micah because...
Good shit!
That's great.
Because on the... Not only the commentary, but Daddy Guy in Space Part 2, he mentions that, they were always on the ball and everything, just go with the flow as is. They didn't know what was going to happen with the show until they received the last script for the last episode. And they decided to just, hide this little secret from him.
God bless them.
Ah, that's great.
And it's funny because he himself said that he made a joke in season 1. Hey, wouldn't it be nice if B had this little twist, like he was like a bad guy and everything.
And then they got that script and they're like, oh shit.
to the point, he's screaming in the booth. Zach's recording him. He's screaming in the booth. They caught this on video, and I took a video of it I'll show you after recording. They took video of it. Joe's down in the other hall. He hears Micah screaming. He's like, so he's recording for Space Daddy? And he's like, yeah, everybody fucking do. That's basically the outcome at that point. Same with Tatum, but I'll save that for when we talk about it. But I thought I could definitely handle that twist very well, because one of the things with actors that they have to do when it comes to dubbing is code reading, because they don't get the script to the day of. They don't know what's going on. Well, usually they would like to research to know what's going on with the character, but since this was a newer process, they
also it was an original. I think it was kind of an original.
It was.
God, I hope so, because I read there's also a manga adaptation, but I'm hoping that came out after the show.
This is original.
Yeah, I think it was definitely original. Yeah, it was definitely original. What am I saying? God, like I'm talking out of my ass. But anyway, yeah, Micah did a very good job. Not only portrayed this bubbly character who's unassuming, even though he's self-aware at times, but having to play off that twist too very well. It's like culture shock.
So when you were talking about Tatum getting tricked or tricking in the booth, I thought you were going to mention the time that apparently he played a trick on Ian Sinclair and just dropped his pants. Like, he went into his underwear and they walked down the hall and got a drink together and walked back, and Ian never noticed until they got back, and then he screamed or something.
Oh, God.
I think that's what that story is. Anyway, back to B.
Yeah, Michael was very impressive. He was very on the ball, especially with the little twist, because much like Joker, he definitely didn't see that coming. But that having been said, are we good to go out to Tatum now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because, like I said, they hit the twist from not only Michael, but from Tim as well, because Tatum, while he's a gifted scientist and a public villain, life, liberty, the pursuit of dandy, he did not see that twist coming when he gets shot in the last episode. I think at one point he pulled a Zeno Robinson and wanted to do more lines to give death takes to that scene, because, oh, man.
Yeah, that was great. But yeah, in general, Dr. Gel was just a lot of fun.
Very much so. Yeah, so much so that when he saw the twist come in, I think he beat on his chest like an ape. And he's like, oh, typecast.
Yeah. I appreciate that J. Michael Tatum does a really good job of making Dr. Gel sound very boisterous and confident, and he is supposed to be a genius, and he very much thinks he is. But he also does a good job of telling the reality that like most of our main cast, he pretty much only has one brain cell, and that cell is fixated on either capturing Dandy or like being obsessed with science. And neither of those things ever ends well for him.
I think one of my favorite moments with him is when it's the episode with Ukulele Man, where the River of Time thing, and he just has that mama moment, and then the vision of his mom beats the shit out of him.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Just Tatum's delivery of mama. She had a stern hand, but she raised me into the man I am.
Yes, although the missing link to the universe is not boobies, no matter what you're saying, Joe. That library episode was fun. I just wish I could remember it.
I also just appreciate like J. Michael Tatum's like very exasperated delivery where like he and B are like going between dimensions during that whole like multi-dimension episode. Where they finally think they've broken free of the 2D of the 1D dimension, and like, oh, we're about to go into a 0 dimension. It's like, wait, 0? They just like turned into a line. It was great.
That episode was fun because it was just basically their ship kept playing Space Invaders.
Oh yeah. And then when they're in the first dimension, they're only the sound waves, which was really good too.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. That episode was very fun. Like I said, and it was like it was not only a platform for a new way to dub, but it was also a platform for a lot of other actors who we would see become bigger names later on. Because I remember that was Morgan Le Ray as the 4D device.
Oh yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I also just imagine that in general that it had to be like an incredibly fun episode to animate.
Yeah, the animation kind of breaks your brain sometimes, because I think they said in the commentary that some guy on the Japanese staff gets the job of deciding all the background aliens for the show. Not one single design was rejected. But
oh wow.
I swear, if y'all ever get the Blu-ray, the commentaries are a ton
I
of fun.
do have the Blu-ray. I just need to go through the behind-the-scenes features on it, unfortunately.
When you get the time, please do, because the things I could talk about, but we can't afford to be here all night. We gotta keep moving. So we're gonna finish up the rest of the core cast here with a couple of red-hot love interests. Let's put it that way. We have Honey, who's a waitress at Boobies, but apparently looks can be deceiving. We just figured she was blonde and she just loves to have more fun. And it turns out she's smarter than she looks. She is half Cloudian, descended from a race of Cloudians. Her real name is Lady Noba. She just works part-time at Boobies. For what reason, we don't know. But we also learned that she loves wrestling, too. And we have our polar opposite, Scarlet, who's a red-haired lady who works the Alien Registration Center. You figured she'd have everything put together, but we find out she really kind of doesn't. She's very skilled in martial arts, as we learned through the Trendy episode, which we find out she and Daddy have a mutual interest. Props to whoever thought it was sly to put a Chuck Norris reference in there. Missing in action? Come on. Not only that, they got Brian Massey to play the Dolph Lundgren reference.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That was great.
That was fun. Yeah, so she comes to realize she has a little bit of feelings for Daddy. Not only after the Cloudy episode, in which she kind of sees sweat dripping off his body, you know. Got that sweat dripping all over her body, sweat dripping off. Anyway, she also kind of falls into the stupid when she just has to pretend to be her boyfriend to get Dolph off her back. Which, it worked out very well and very not. Dolph did end up with a restraining order of 10,000 parsecs. But it also seemed like there was a bit of a missed opportunity between Scarlet and Daddy at the end. To which they kind of make up later towards the end of the series. They will fight a universe just to get their daddy.
Yeah, they're just like, well, might as well go get his ass.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you all risked your lives for me. I don't want you to risk them anymore. But
playing these two, Honey is played by Alexis Tipton, and Scarlet is played by Colleen Clinkybeard. Alexis Tipton, you've heard as Kurumi Tokisaki, Data Life, and Kaguya Shinobi and Kaguya-sama Love is War. Colleen Clinkybeard, you've heard as Ursa Scarlet in Fairy Tail, and Lilith in Borderlands. Yes, I went for the redhead, so sue me. And they also both play Mocha and Rosario in Vampire.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I forgot Colleen was one of the Mochas.
How many mochas does it take to make a mocha?
At some point, someone should make a Rosario plus Vampire reboot. Like,
Yeah.
like that manga goes in surprising directions.
Once that time comes, hopefully that time will come. But as for right now, this reference is kind of apt to these two because, you know, you got essentially the blonde one who's in love with the main character, and then you got the tough badass one who kind of lets her guard down eventually, but, you know, just puts on a strong foot, but at the end, you know.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I'm convinced that Honey either, like, doesn't realize that he has a thing for her, or just, like, very suddenly ignoring him.
She's just choosing to fuck with him. Like, to me, Alexis's Honey has the vibes of the high society girl who is just working at a job for the sake of learning about how, like, the normal world works.
I think you almost on the money, because in the episode 19 commentary, Alexis kind of spotted the idea, hey, what if maybe Honey was just like working at boobies while trying to pay for college and that kind of thing. The idea kind of floated about, but she learned that talking to okay, so here's the thing. After the show had aired, the next year at 8 Fest, a lot of the Japanese staff from Space Dandy came and visited. And one of those staff members was Daisato, who apparently comes to Texas a lot for the conventions, I learned. They said that the idea came about the local Twin Peaks, you know. Again, shout out to Twin Peaks, hello. So you're not too far off from that, Megan.
I was gonna say, you know what Alexis's performance gives me vibes of?
What?
She's fucking Elle Woods working at the Hooters.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Because, like, I appreciate that while she is, like, seemingly framed as, like, the blonde bimbo, and she's kind of, like, a little ditzy on the surface. Since, as we mentioned before, Dandy, QT, and Mia only have, like, one brain cell between them, she's consistently smarter than them in pretty much all of their interactions. And by default, probably smarter than every main character in the show, except probably Scarlet.
I guess you could say she has 2 brain cells.
She's working with the full. She's playing with the full deck, man.
She's definitely playing with a full deck.
Oh,
like she's explicitly even smarter than Gel in them.
As evidenced by the fact that when they capture her, like, she just frees herself, which is great. And super.
I would like to think that maybe Cloudy is like physically strong at some point. I really hope that Gel is a lightweight, because that episode 19 was pretty fun to watch. She basically suplexes Dr. Gel and tries to escape from the ship, but it's like, I don't know. It's kind of absurd, but at the same time, it's kind of fun.
It's beautiful,
especially at the end when they have that little like long dramatic scene with the 2 Cloudies and the rain dropping between each other. Because I remember Carly and Alexis says that maybe that possibly the artists like to poke fun at those kinds of scenes, which is why that happened.
Yeah. Also, I'll admit it was pretty funny that, like, during the multi-dimension episode where, like, they're about to go into the 2D dimension, and she's like interested in the prince because, like, you know, she's like, oh hey, I can get a man who's like royalty. She finds out that he's just like a square.
She's like, no! What was it? Why try hard when you can just marry into royalty and that's how you get rich?
Yeah.
I was like, there's a woman after my heart.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because back in the early days, you usually see Alexis play this kind of typecast, but when you get to know Alexis, you know she's kind of a different person, so they're gonna play as this kind of typecast was very charming. And I know, what was it? Oh yeah, they were talking about like when they first started this project, like how they were excited, how Khalid and Alexis were excited to see real fan reaction in real time, because you know they're always kind of worried about like when they would play these kind of characters. Because another thing I found out about this show is that apparently a lot of these episodes were recorded not only the same time as the Japanese, but out of order as well. So like, if one performance differed from another episode, that's kind of why. So yeah, so of course, obviously we know where you're going. It's too late to know now, but yeah, I thought for what it was worth, he did a very good job, and God, I hope someday they decide to continue it, but only time will tell.
Honestly, if they never made more Space Dandy, I would actually be okay with it, because I think the show ended like in the best way it could have.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that having been said, I really like Khalid and Scarlet because yes, it's a ginger-haired character. Yes, she played another person named Scarlet. Where you get that? But what I find interesting about all this is that she says that she, because if you ever heard Carly's normal voice, it's like, you can kind of sense the geek in her. She said that Scarlet, she had to play her voice exaggeratingly sexy, like, kind of like deep tone, that kind of thing. But mind you, this was pre-One Piece, so you don't hear as much of the husk from her as you do nowadays. So that's because, of course, Luffy took a toll on her voice after a while. But for pre-One Piece, Colleen Clinky Beard, it was definitely very entertaining. I'll give her that. I mean, she's Lilith in Borderlands. That was probably one of the reasons I got into anime in the first place. Because when I found out who played her and I started watching anime, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna love Colleen Clinky Beard because she's not only very good actor, very good director too. Like, I like
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you can go first. You're catching up your thoughts.
I like how she has this kind of self-awareness where she just like playing around with what goes on in the show. Because she, in the commentary, she talks about like how Alexis kind of portrays Honey, even though we all know it's not what Alexis is like as a person. I mean, Alexis is a horror fan. She describes Honey as working in some type of restaurant Waffle House, to which Katie might be in awe and in cringe at the same time.
What a restaurant waffle. I mean, if you think about it, if you're drunk enough, a Waffle House can be a restaurant.
That is an experiment I am not willing to try. So,
don't worry, somebody else out there has probably done it for you. No, so for me, I think the best part about Colleen as Scarlet is that it is so much more mature. It is the most mature sounding character in the show because Scarlet is the most mature character in the show. And I genuinely think the best part about her Scarlet performance is that she is able to get out the pathos that Scarlet comes to emit, because Scarlet could have easily just been a character that never really went anywhere, or she was just like this one-off bitchy character. But instead, she turned out to be a genuine love interest, and I do think the date episode where she's being stalked is one of the best episodes that happens in the show. So I really applaud Colleen, and I really love the part where they both realize they're like basically into shitty Van Damme movies together. And it's like, oh man, is animated version of him just as badass as real life? Oh hell yeah, it is. And that's why I really wanted to tear up when he misses her at the bar. And it's very clear they're like in love with each other, but they missed out because the way things went. I also really like the first time you meet Scarlet, how no nonsense she is and beating up all the shit with the ramen. So like, I don't know if this is one of my overall favorite Colleens of all time, but this one was really, really good.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, because they said on the commentary, it was basically like you kind of inverses stereotypes, because you have Honey, who's kind of just like a free spirit, but really when you look at it, it's like she got her life together in that one episode. And then you look at Scarlet, who you think she has her life together, but over time it kind of just breaks down and you realize it's just a facade. Especially when Fred takes her out to mix her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that Colleen was really great at making Scarlet just sound like very exhausted and overworked, and which pretty much just makes her the most consistently relatable character in this show. Especially just like constantly putting up with Danny and Toad's just like general incompetence as alien hunters, which is always funny. And I did like that. I did appreciate that, similar to Honey, we do kind of see like various sides of her over the course of the show, like kind of like fighting off the robots in the ramen episode, or like getting drunk at a party to forget about her love life, and Colleen got all of that across really well. And I really did like a deliberate like the whole fake dating Danny episode. And how Scarlett kind of like softened up a bit when she went from being really annoyed with Danny to realizing they might have more in common as he ever would have thought, and is kind of falling for him. Do kind of wish that it worked out, but this isn't that kind of show. And definitely made a ending to that episode hit with a pretty hard dose of reality. So yeah. But I did appreciate that even though things between her and Danny didn't work out, when it seems were down and Danny was revealed to be the 14th agent from Evangelion and putting the whole universe at risk, he was so willing to go out and save him.
Mm-hmm. Basically. And much like that, the Eva, I think we're good to move on. Okay, so this episode's going to be a little different as you've already seen. So what we decided to do with the content this time around, Space Dandy is more or less an anthology series. It's basically a series of stories that may or may not intertwine in some way. I mean, it's not really connected until it is, as you see with the episodes later on. So, as a result, Jet, Mega, and I decided to come up with a few characters to, I guess, pad out this episode, basically. 10 different stories. We're going to go through chronologically, talk about these characters. Starting with... yes. Phantom Space and Ramen, baby. Episode 2. Danny and Meow are on the hunt for this Phantom Space Ramen from his rare aliens never been seen before. They tour a multitude of ramen shops across the galaxy until they come across this one greasy one that apparently Meow realizes that they might have the perfect space ramen, and it turns out it came through a wormhole. So they travel through said wormhole, and we discover that it's an old man running this tiny ramen shop, exporting his noodles across the galaxy. We kind of come to find out that what makes his ramen perfect is his salty tears. Which I know there might be a meme to be had, but not about a person that is as good natured as this one, even if he did come from a bad background at first. To which, kind of finding out you got in trouble for murdering somebody where it was you accidentally burned your old girlfriend trying to light a matches. Both hilarious and sad. Yeah. And then we have episode 3. Where the Aloha O is on the hunt for this deadly space alien. They come across this planet, and they're surrounded by a whole bunch of these gray-looking aliens who they thought was trying to kill them. Meanwhile, they chase down this girl. Like, I guess it had to be... I don't know why they said they had to have a fan service episode. That's what Boobies is for.
Oh no, they needed a fan service episode to prove that deep down, if it looks super hot and way too good to be true, it'll probably kill you.
And Killer tried to do, because as we learned that Namida series, Defgarian, it was a number one ranked species on things I would not want to get eaten by. Also kind of proves that whole rating system is bullshit with Toonami. Why couldn't you put Garlic Action? Like, don't tell me you couldn't air episode 1 because of the boob tit monster. We did that with Space Dandy.
I mean, not being able to show boobs was the reason they kept saying they couldn't show Fujiyama. So, where is it, guys?
Where is it?
I mean, we watched Taz and Jaffe Batista Bomber the titty monster, for God's sakes. Come on.
You've got a Batista bomb the titty monster every once in a while.
Yeah, unfortunately that didn't happen here. What happened is they battled the monster with some kind of transforming.
They regular bombed it.
No, it was more like a food bomb.
Good old food poisoning.
But I like the fact that thing didn't really die; it just kind of shrunk into a smaller size.
And then they gave it to Scarlet.
Yep, but for every crazy story, there's also, I guess, kind of a sad truth. We have episode 5, A Merry Companion in Space, baby. We get to Adele, She's the rare Gen 2 that the LUVRAW is searching for. And in the process, they end up getting the ship towed. So Daddy has to hack out the Galaxy Express with Adele in tow to try to register the alien registration center in order for a little coin. Along the way, feelings develop and they kind of have a heart-to-heart in a parent-daughter relationship.
Dandy becomes a daddy.
Space daddy. But the thing we learned most about Adele is that she has the power to transfer people's consciousness into stuffed animals. I guess as a defense mechanism. Because she did that to Daddy twice, but her power only lasts 666 seconds. Oddly specific.
I thought it was 666 minutes.
Nope, it's seconds.
Okay.
And she kind of used this power to the point she embarrassed some previous bounty hunters who come trying to steal her away. And she is rescued in the end by her grandfather. Well, as it turns out, Daddy wasn't out hunting boobies all night. He was just trying to find her family. So, Danny has a little bit of a caring side. You just don't see it as often. What you do see is his mean streaks, though, when he gets involved in the race. And he ends up coming across the #1 space racer in the galaxy, Prince. I kind of like how they introduced him, because Honey thinks that she's welcoming... Daddy thinks that Honey's welcoming him back. She's like, oh, you came? Yeah, baby, I came today. I came yesterday. You best believe I'll come tomorrow. Yeah, it turns out Prince is... He looks to be pretty boy on the outside, but really, kind of gets aggravated because of Daddy's tactics, to the point that his whole team's kind of scheming to take him out. Even that little pipsqueak mouse, played by Tyson Reinhardt.
I would say, it's always nice when any series get to take a swing at the mouse.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Copyright strike this, motherfuckers.
Oh man, the way that episode ended is like, okay.
That is definitely one way to have a gay awakening.
Oh yeah, he basically gay awakens the Dandy so hard it destroys the universe. Happy Pride Month.
Ooh man, that does start a couple days, doesn't it? Ooh, that does.
Yep. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But then we get back to Daddy's character in the next episode, where he discovers a planet for a drug, and comes across a little pup. Well, the pup didn't have a name, he called his Precious Upside Down Coconut Pie, or Pup for short. Turns out Pup was abandoned long ago on the planet, to the point that kind of feels so much sadness that his body can't take no more. And then it's
implied that it's Laika, the first dog put in space by the Russians.
It is. I was like, damn, they made the Rita reference before that even existed. I was like, holy shit. Okay, show of hands. Who teared up at the episode?
I own dogs, so yes.
I didn't tear up, but the ending was very sad.
Oh, I teared up like motherfuckers.
And then her fleas attacked. I was gonna say, rest in peace to the writer of that episode. That would be Keiko Nobumoto.
Yeah.
Who is also the creator of Wolfsrain, the other really sad dog show.
May he rest in peace.
She also created one of the most fun episodes in Space Dandy, What a Way to Go Out. But we'll get to that later. But play these 5. The old ramen shop owner is played by Grant James. Mamita is the Deaf Guardian, is played by Trina Nishimura. Adele is played by Jade Saxton. Prince is played by Eric Vale. Ed Pup is played by Caitlin Glass. Grant James, you've heard as Tokyo and How. And Sirius is Nabarino O. Trina Nishimura, you've heard as Mikasa in Attack on Titan. And Kyoka Jiro in My Hero Academia. Jade Saxon, you've heard as Saki Harajima in Fruits Basket 2019. And Chika Fujiwara in Kaguya-sama Love is War. Eric Vale, you've heard as Keiichi Kanajo in Begata HK. And Yuki Soma in Fruits Basket. And Caitlin Glass. Come on. Do I need to say anything? She's Wendy Rockbird for Male Alchemist and Mina Ashino in My Hero Academia. So, I think it's safe to say...
I think, honestly, this section's gonna go really fast, because...
Yeah.
As much as there are a lot of episodic characters, some of these episodes also don't have a ton of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, especially, I loved Caitlin Glass's Pup. Just for the short amount of voice work that she got to do in it, because she's so old that the translator can't even, like, really understand her. I just really loved how, like, very much she played the I am a good dog, yes, and just in such a short time she just brought out so much emotion. I loved everyone's reaction in that episode, like Joel and Ian, especially Joel jumping on her and being like, I want to play with her too.
That was so
and
sad.
It's just it's such like a if you've ever lost a pet type episode, it'll hit. It is the Marley and Me episode of the show, if you catch my drift.
Oh god.
It is also very telling that episode 2, which was one of my other favorite episodes, Grant James is the old ramen shop owner, gets also a very small amount of time.
Yeah.
But he really gets into your heart with the story of how he is just on this planet by himself because he believes that he has no place after killing the woman that he loved.
Yeah.
And I love the whole fact that he decided to go mope on Earth, and that's where he found ramen and learned to enjoy it. Also, shout out to that episode being done by Sayo Yamamoto.
Yeah.
A real fucking queen.
Yeah. It's always great when Sayo Yamamoto does things.
Yeah, I mean, she revived an entire franchise, and now she's in jail because Mappa is fucking awful.
Yeah. Free her, Mappa, please. Or, just...
Mappa, just let her go to Bones and do whatever she wants. It worked pretty fucking well for Bones.
Yeah. Damn it.
Like... yeah, just let her go back to Bones. But I think Grant really got the pathos out of everybody with him as the old ramen shop owner, and it was just very touching. Eric Vale playing the really pretty guy is about the most Eric Vale thing that they could have done.
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
That is... Oh, yeah, that is...
Oh, yeah, no, like, there was a long time where Eric Vale's stereotype was being the really pretty dude.
Yeah, that is exactly where you would typecast Eric Vale, and it's beautiful. He just does a really good job of making that guy just sound very pretentious, but in a fun way.
And then he realizes, oh my god, I'm racing so well. He basically gets to do gay Redline. To which
this episode was not quite as well animated as Redline, but it was so pretty cool looking.
Yeah, and they, just Dandy gets sent into the future where he's the Bodhisattva, but so, yay. I think Eric does a really good job there. Trina as Mamantis. I hope she got to do all the gross animal noises too. Because that was really funny, and I love that they got her to play this, like, cutesy girl who just, ends up eating meow, and then they just leave her in there. And then Jade Saxton was fantastic as Adele. This is kind of the stuff that I think Jade Saxton, acting-wise, has made her bread and butter on, is these kind of tsundere characters. And I genuinely think that is the cutest episode of the show. Just Dandy and her hanging out with each other. Kind of could have like, you know, had it without the whole, like, when you grow up and get hot, you can be on my ship stuff, but
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
Jade really helped to carry that episode, and it was one of the strongest acted episodes in the whole show.
Oh yeah, it was to the point that even some of the crew were kind of tearing up on that episode.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty good one. It reminded me a lot of Jade's performance as Hachin and Michiko and Hachin.
I was gonna say that, but I've
yes.
never actually seen Michiko and Hachin.
Oh, I have.
One of these days we're definitely going to fix that.
Yeah, I know. We have to bring Noah along for the ride, or otherwise he would be very angry at us.
Ooh, I have an idea for me, but I'll save that for later.
But yeah, I did like all of these a lot. Especially Jay's definitely the set out of this group. I would say like she definitely gets like the most dramatic episode to work with, and that's fun, and that's pretty solid time. And I think she does a great job there. Then the rest of these are just all like generally pretty fun or like somber in the case of Grant James, where like Meg was saying, you know, he had to play this guy who's just kind of been through a lot, and it's just kind of like stuck in this space now, and and he's kind of like sad and lonely, but also just kind of like content with being where he is. And it did. Grant James got across like how sad that is really well. And then Eric Vale, again, just being Eric Vale, really, really fun as Prince. We got a really good kick out of how well he switched between like going from being incredibly pompous to being like, oh hey, you know, this ending guy's not half bad, and then at the end like, oh my god, Danny, I love you, and then like the universe explodes. Yeah. And then Caitlin just made me very sad as pup.
Yes, I guess going with that, Caitlin Glass, she's a very good actress. I know she usually she's a glass half full kind of person, but that episode just kind of made me tear up in ways I couldn't believe. Also kind of reminded me of an anecdote on Connie Clinkerbeard's Twitter where she mistaken something she said and thought that Caitlin was dead when really she's just missing her role in Fruits Basket so much. I'll link you the tweet if y'all want later, but it was just a whole misunderstanding. But yeah, Kaylee did very well for that episode. It's funny, that episode was about the pup the whole time. And the credits kind of did it dirty by listeners and extra. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Dog was the most important part of the episode.
Like, I'll give a damn about Dave Trosko or Scott Freeman as Fleas. That whole episode was Caitlin Glass and you know it.
Admittedly, the Flea Party episode kind of lost me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they got questioned and the whole planet just went kaboom. Let's see. Eric Villas, but I was kind of surprised. Well, now I'm kind of surprised because, of course, back then he was cast as pretty boys. Now he's cast as thick assholes. So
I mean, those can be one and the same more often than not. So
that depends on the.
That's not a Venn diagram. That's just a circle.
Depends on the show. But yeah, and the fact he is a gay awakening at the end of the episode, and then poof, he just disappears, never to be seen again.
Don't worry, he's fine. Out there, nutting to the end of eternity.
Speaking of nutting, Trina Nishimura is the boob monster. Man.
That was a transition.
So much so, I think I've seen GIFs of that scene. He didn't say much, but what she did, it was kind of like, yeah, you could definitely tell it's a trap. You even have to sell me on the plot or the plots.
To which I gotta say, like, one of the funniest parts of the episode, like, I love Trees Report, but I also love that, Danny and Coach spend the whole time, getting chased around, a bunch of aliens who they think are, the actual threat. And then you hear what those aliens sound like, and it's just kind of like, oh, you're about to get eaten up in here, and it's just it's amazing. The delivery was beautiful.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's funny because, again, this was this was really old back in the day because you don't hear as much husk in her voice as you do now. This was also around the time I used to confuse her with Leah Clark, but that's a different story. And then we get Grant James as the ramen shop owner, which it's been a hot minute since I talked about him, but I thought he did pretty well, just capture the spirit of the episode and the whole ramen thing, because it's you consigned yourself to this fate, but you're willing to accept it. It's you know what you did, you just, I guess this is your way of atoning, I guess, through ramen.
I love that they offered for him to go on the ship as their chef. That was really sweet.
Yep, and then, unfortunately, because of the antics, they ended up closing the wormhole, so I doubt they're ever going to taste that ramen again. And then Meow gets pissed because he didn't get to taste it, but man, it's better to have not need than to need to not have. So, and if you're going to be needy about ramen, you shouldn't have in the first place then. Also, I like the fact that episode, the Empire just catches up to them because Meow is just tweeting out to every location.
Yep.
And this is why you shouldn't post, kids.
Or if you do, don't post everything.
To keep your location off, they can't find you.
But I think probably the start of this section is Jade Saxton's Adderley because what Jet said with Michiko and Hachi. Yeah, it actually kind of starts off a similar way too. Now that I think about it, because Adderley was kind of a brat, but I think she was kind of scared with Hachi. She was kind of bratty, but that's because she had to put up in a shitty ass household in this orphanage in Brazil, which we will discuss that someday, but that's not for this episode. So the fact that they ended up on this quest together, and they start to grow closer to each other as kind of a father-daughter kind of thing, it did impress me. And then, even when she thinks that Daddy's just gonna abandon her at the end there, and it's nope, that's not exactly the case. And then they kind of play off that little friendship thing where, and no, I don't want you on the ship, not unless you have big groups, that kind of thing. To which there is a piece of art on DeviantArt, but that's not for this episode. Like I said, I wish there was some kind of continuation, but I'm fine with the way things ended, even if somehow Daddy did not get his ship back that episode. Again, there's a lot of these stories don't seem intertwined until they do later, but we'll explain why later. But that episode is pretty damn good. Even got Ian in the fields. And
Yep.
And I think we're good to move on here. So, nice. Oh man, this section. So next up we have kind of probably the most interesting section, at least till the last one. But we kind of have a coffee maker that QT ends up falling in love with. To the point he'll do anything for her, even follow her to an abandoned island of abandoned appliances.
They're not abandoned. They were sent there because they had emotions.
Yeah, and the emotions caused a tinker in their system, and then they were recalled, basically. But,
sorry.
No, I was going to say that's AIs for you, but you go ahead.
I was going to say, so basically just Astro Boy.
Oh my god.
I have fond memories of the 2003 series, so Yes. Speaking of robots, we have a little ukulele man who's apparently addicted to Daddy's smile to the point he invites him out to his place on this planet that has what's called a Pororoco. I almost said Porcoroso, but that's a different story. The River of Time, basically. Daddy kind of just shoots him down after he turns his friends into like these. I guess he kind of freezes them in time to like little stick figures, that kind of stuff. He runs away and he's so dissatisfied with Daddy that he's willing to pull an earlier moment in time to where he's smiling. Basically, while he's at boobies. Long story short.
Ukulele Man is terrifying.
Yeah, so apparently when you pull from a moment in time, your present self starts to disappear. And Danny ends up knocking him out to the point he bursts into flames and disintegrates. All I'm saying is the smile wasn't meant for him anyway. And Danny just said, "Oh, you're smiling, baby. The biggest smile, you smiling." Yeah. Speaking of putting a smile on your face, we end up in the transfer episode because what type of anime doesn't have an episode with a transfer student in it? That's not set in high school.
Beverly Hills High.
Yes, of all the things I would expect this to have referenced, High School Musical was not one of them.
High School Musical, and I'm pretty sure we will rock you by Queen.
Also, I think 90210.
Well, yeah.
It was High School Musical 90210 and Queen.
Yeah, so Daddy decides to transfer to the school because they come across a picture of this rare alien on Twitter. Yeah, rare alien. It's this plant that kind of blossoms when it's in love, but they have no idea what it looks like other than just their profile. So he transfers.
And it
ahead.
ends up being the girl that he takes to prom.
Yeah.
With the punchline that he literally never realizes who it is the entire time and forgets all about it.
Yeah, he ends up taking this girl to prom. I guess ends up building her self-confidence because Daddy states that she has something that the other students don't have. That booty. To which, if you ever say that in a high school, you're not a transfer student, you could get arrested for that. Speaking of booty, holy shnikes. So the last character we have on our list is Pine Pine. You're probably wondering who she is. She is basically Scarlett's friend and co-worker at the alien registration center. Kind of breaks Scarlett out of the fuck by taking her to a mixer. Sounds like she has what has to be a deep enough Bronx accent, like Rosie Perez from White Man Can't Jump. And the reason she's kind of on this list, despite being in the episode only 5 minutes, is because Jesus Christ, I've never seen that much booty in an anime before.
She is by far the most attractive alien in the show. There, I'll say it. She's got the curvy girl look. Hell yeah, 10 out of 10. Thank you, Keiku Nobumoto.
Oh man, Daddy Daddy went to that mixer for the free food also. But I don't think he ever saw her though. And that's a damn shame because, as we all know, Daddy is a slave to the booty. Also, this is probably the most you'll ever hear me say booty in an episode. Booty, 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 rocking everywhere, rocking everywhere.
I was waiting for it.
Oh, I am crazy. Hey, it's my birthday. I'm allowed to be crazy. But playing these four, Makers played by Christy Kang. Ukulele Man's played by Bryce Papenbrook. Freckles is played by Ashley Birch. And Pied Pied is played by Monica Rial. Christy Kang. This is weird because I don't think we've ever... Oh, wait, no, wait.
I was about to say we have talked about Christy Kang
twice. Dragon Cry, that's what I was trying to remember.
Twice? Thank you. Yeah, she's my favorite character in Suridare Children.
Oh yes.
She's Rico's partner in that.
Oh yeah, she's a side brain that's very emotional. She's also Kyoka Kandajo begat at HK, and because I brought up Fairy Tail, Leafy McGarden.
Best girl in Fairy Tail.
Bryce Papenbrook, you've heard this era in Attack on Titan, and Makoto Naegi, the Danganronpa franchise. Ashley Birch, you've heard this Ashley Birch, you've heard as Sasha Browse in Attack on Titan, up to season 3, and Mayuri Shida in Steins Gate. Monica Rial, seriously, do I need to remind y'all? You've heard her. She's Bulma in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, and because we brought up, she's Michiko and Hatshin.
I was gonna say, recently we have learned that Bulma got the Pine upgrade.
I was gonna make a joke that, Bulma, Pine is basically if Bulma had cake, and then I went on Twitter this morning.
And we learned that Toei learned how to bake.
So basically, Bulma's sponge cake, Pine's pound cake. Let's put it that way.
I wonder if the guy who hacked Toei and caused the delays taught them how to draw an ass.
I want to say yes, but the problem is it's Toei, so they know how to be consistently inconsistent. So don't expect that ass to last long. So.
It's not even going to be consistent in the movie. I'll start this off again. I'll just run these down really quick. Unfortunately, Monica Rial got to use her big sexy girl voice for Pine, and then Pine disappeared for half the episode. I really loved Ashley Birch as Freckles, who is apparently so homely that she doesn't even have eyes. She has gag anime eyes. But I think she did a really great job singing at the end of that episode, which Space Dandy is the only show that would make a song that starts off as booty is everything turn into a song about how everything is important because somebody out there loves it. And it be genuinely sincere. Also, I didn't realize until she actually showed up at the prom that Dandy was basically running her through extreme kegels. So that she would get a better ass. But Ashley does such a good job there, and she makes her so cute and nerdy. I'll skip over Ukulele Man and go to Christy Kang as Maker, which she's like the cutest little coffee maker, and that episode is just a masterclass in telling a tragic romance in 30 minutes or less. And I love how her and Allison Victorian bounce off each other. Especially when when Cutie realizes that Maker's been in love with Register the whole time and not him, even though Cutie gave her the time of her little coffee life. And I thought that was really sweet. But can we talk about fucking scary-ass Bryce as the Ukulele Man?
Oh, man.
That is the creepiest I've ever heard Bryce Papenbrook come at me, Attack on Titan fans. It's so genuinely unsettling because you can hear the forced smile in his voice and just the sound mixing on how he rattles. It's so good. And I think it's one of my favorite little oh hey, this is Bryce Papenbrook and something being weird that you'll ever get. And I also now want people photoshopping. You know that Photoshop people do of Eren being kill the child from the newest season of Attack on Titan? Someone needs to start photoshopping Ukulele Man doing that instead.
Oh, good God. So, yeah.
I'm done. If you're good.
Yeah, I could also be pretty quick with Monica Rial as Pine. I thought it was nice. Monica Rial got to use her big girl voice, and it was pretty fun for a bit of that episode she was in, and I enjoyed it. And Ashley Burke as Freckles, and I thought Asmi did a pretty good job of playing like the very kind of stereotypical nerdy girl, and she sounded pretty fun with that, and also had a pretty good singing voice, which definitely made the payoff for that whole episode worth it, and that whole song was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And Chrissy King is Baker. I thought she sounded like very sweet and polite. And I thought she had like a pretty good dynamic with QT throughout that entire episode. And kind of doing a good job of like baiting you into thinking that like there's some good romantic chemistry there. And then it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, oh, she was involved with the cast sister all along. It's like, yeah, that's a pretty appropriate punchline for this show, but it still works somehow. And I thought she did like a pretty good job kind of telling up like the tragedy of how that all turned out, and also kind of wanted to stop the robot revolution. And then of course there is Bryce Papenbrook as Ukulele Man, which is like, sometimes we take for granted that Bryce Papenbrook sounds like, I don't want to say like overly similar in a lot of things, but Bryce Papenbrook is one of those actors where like you can almost always tell it's him, and that's true in this case. But something about this is just works really well in terms of being extremely unsettling. Where the moment he starts talking as Ukulele Man, he's like, there's something about this character that's just like not quite right, but you can't tell what it is. And then you find out that he's been like freezing bodies in order to like capture smiles
and possess them.
Yeah, and it's just like, and he reveals this in like the most nonchalant way possible, which just really adds to it.
Just walks out. Hey, I just I have these bodies in the backyard. NBD.
I was random. Like, also, where did Mia and QT come from? Because weren't they on the ship while Daddy was off?
They crashed.
I know it crashed, but
I think they were walking around and Ukulele Man found them, and that's how they got caught.
God.
But he did a really good job of making him sound creepy, and then when he like finally reveals his hand to Dandy, he starts to sound like a little more unhinged, but not without like going full ham with it. Which in a way kind of makes it sound even scarier. And then the kind of very somber delivery when he's like on fire and he's like, oh well, I guess I wouldn't have had a good smile anyway. And then he tells him that he's like, oh no, you have like a great smile. And then like even like as he's being considered, he's like, oh, am I really smiling? Like, how does it look? Like as though he's like genuinely excited that he's like finally smiling.
I also forgot to talk about the sexy capybara lady from that episode. There was a sexy capybara lady.
Oh yeah, Lydia Mackey.
Yes, the sexy capybara lady. That are also like eating the capybara people who are eating the aloha away at the end of
it. But yeah, all these were pretty good performances.
Yeah, so Michael, y'all, again, she only shows up 3 minutes or so. I really like not only is a big girl voice, but it kind of has a New York flair to it. 'Cause I could definitely think that was a Bronx accent for all of a sudden. But man, like it's not often you see a character like that in anime. Just not hentai or anything like that. But she was just impressive, and that's why I had to put her on this list. To which. Back to the booty. Ashley Butch's freckles. So Ashley Butch's freckles. The thing about her was she was kind of unassuming and just shy, kind of. Oh god, I almost walked. Fuck it, might as well get this put out the way. She was kind of a bit of a wallflower. I hang out with Andrew too much, so yeah, but she was starting to get some self-confidence, and she literally blossomed as like. I thought Daddy was just building her up because she she needs to be able to believe in herself, believe in the daddy that believes in you, that kind of thing. No, it's believe in the booty that believes in you, because all those type wad girls that just basically have to stick up their ass, and also, Jesus Christ, Chris Sabat, there's 3 of you, and combined y'all turn into the whole. What kind of nonsense is this?
No superpowers allowed on campus.
Didn't even know that was possible. As we go further up the list, Christy Kang, this is my first time talking about her. I don't get to hear a lot of her often. I don't think I get to hear a lot of her anymore, because I think other than, the final season of Fairy Tail, she hasn't really done anything since. Which is a shame, because she has this smooth kind of, this soft kind of voice, like, that really lends itself to being a warrior, just have these warrior kind of emotions, like she's just being nice, just for the sake of being nice, and that's one thing I've always liked about Christy Kang as an actress. Although there were some other shows regarding HK where she can be kind of uppity, but that's for another day. But the standout in this list is Bryce Papenbrook as the ukulele man, because for one, I don't think up until Dog and Wampa came out, I don't think nobody expected Bryce to be in a Funimation dub. And for 2, nobody expected him to be the dub. Is probably one of the most unsettling characters there is, even though this character is just small and robotic-like. It's his creepy demeanor that when he kind of comes through, his personality is but the way Daddy kind of dismisses it, he earned that ire. To the point you kind of realize his the ukulele man's true intent. But at least he died with a smile on his face. That's all I can say. Yeah, man. We're almost done with this anthology, and I think we got about 4 more characters to go here. Alright, so rounding out part of our anthology series. Remember, this is just a small selection, but this is a good selection here. We have. Wait, are we good to move on? I forgot to ask.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Even though it's my birthday, I still have to be a courteous host,
You're good.
But rounding out our little anthology here, we have Johnny, aspiring musician who has a secret. He is the commander of the Jaiko Empire that is basically rich and powerful, get anything he wants, but what he decides most is to be in the band. He comes across Danny in this restaurant in the bathroom as he's humming this song he heard from a guitarist, the Boobies. And then the two break out into a fight. I think Johnny was kicking his ass, to be honest. And then they decide, they apparently become great friends over rounds of beers. Decides to form a band with him. It's him, him and the Aloha Oi, they form the DROPKIX. Yeah, that's a very apt name. The DROPKIX, which had only one single, and at their first gig they performed that song so too damn long to the point the manager threatened to throw them out, and then they caught the attention of a record producer. All in all, while Johnny is discovering life, liberty, and the pursuit of french fries. I'm sorry, fried potatoes. I think my favorite thing about that episode is not only his interactions with Daddy, but the conversation they're having at Boobies, and Honey's just laid out on the table like Daddy's just by her ass.
That's the close. That also had some nippies showing.
That definitely had some nippies showing. At one point, I couldn't tell if Meow was looking at his beer or looking at her tits. And then things come to a blow when he's about to invade the Go-Go Empire, but did not want to give up his dreams of performing on stage. And let's say Daddy inadvertently stopped the space war from happening.
As you do.
Yes. But what happens next, that's what Daddy wanted to find out in the next episode, where he ends up in a world without sadness. He is greeted by this strange creature named Ferdinand, who takes him on a tour of this planet. It doesn't take him long until he looks at a spring well full of water that he doesn't realize he's dead. How, you may ask? Well, you see, he and the Aloha Oi got caught up in a black nebula. And as a result, accidentally banged his head on the warp drive panel. So, yeah, he does not want to die, even though he had no choice. He says you can either ascend into the sky, which is heaven, or you can go downstairs, which is hell, which is basically what Daddy said. So he decides to head back and tries to take a tram, and on this tram he meets a girl named, well, they never give her name in the anime, but for reference's sake, she's called Po. And Po, as it turns out, is the personification of this planet, which is planet Limbo. She realizes she cannot send Daddy back into the past before he died, but apparently she discovers that he has a hidden power that allows her to send him to another universe, one in which before he died. And she decides to do this out of love.
Yeah, on that note, to which I do appreciate that this show actually does do a pretty decent job of foreshadowing the twist of what Dandy actually is like earlier on.
Most notably, this was the episode that Shinichiro Watanabe himself did, so...
Yeah. That was very deep, and thank you for that selection, y'all. Then as he comes out to the word Limbo, I guess 2 episodes later, he has this weird dream where he gets caught up with this dancing guy, all clad, dressed in gold, cloud hair, the works. He comes across a planet Greece, which is aptly named. Tries to avoid it for fear of his dream coming true. Encounters this little thing called called Teardrops. I wonder what that's a reference to. Wink, nudge.
Rap movie? I don't know.
Okay, let's be honest.
It's clearly a reference to the classic movie Face Off.
Okay, let's be real. It's definitely Grease, but it also has bits of Saturday Night Fever, too. So,
I was gonna say, it's definitely Grease and Saturday Night Fever. Especially Saturday Night Fever.
Especially if you watch that episode on Saturday Night Fever. So he kind of spot who the local tourist officer believes is a dead Sigian, to which no one's ever encountered before in the last 500 years. Then his mother wakes up out of a coma and tells him, that's not that Sigian. Oh, wait, hold on. That's not that Sigian. This is a that Sigian. Please tell me that sounded Australian.
Close enough.
I apologize to any Australians that might be listening to this episode. But you can blame Crocodile Dundee for that meme. Ooh.
When in doubt, blame Crocodile Dundee it out.
Oh god, I hope we don't get comments about that. Anyway, so as it turns out, this is just a guy that loves to party and dance on every planet he ever goes to. And he gets into a dance contest with Daddy, because Daddy's tired of his attitude, to which I like how the fact that he's just kind of dancing spins back time, I guess. And it's just like everybody's just having a little fun with it. And then the next thing you know, these two are just battling it out to the point that the dead Singies are revived and they might end up destroying the whole universe, which...
Oh no, they did again!
They did again, but it gave us probably the funkiest ending credit sequence ever.
They died. We died of funk, but it was worth.
Mm-hmm. But what was worth it was Johnny. Let's see. Johnny's a musician. Likes to have a little fun. Has a deep voice. Who's named John that we could get to play him? Oh, I know, John Bergmeyer. No, I'm kidding. No, he's played by Johnny Young Bosch. Of course. Ferdinand is played by Kyle Hebert. Poe is played by Elizabeth Maxwell. And Todd Travolta himself is played by Major Attaway. Johnny Young Bosch, you've heard him talk about him before. He's Leo Foti in Promare. And Adam Park in the Power Rangers franchise. Kyle Hebert is Kamina in Gurren Lagann and Berserker in Phase Zero. Elizabeth Maxwell is Polina Levinskaya in Astra Lost in Space and Midnight in My Hero Academia. And Todd Travolta, Major Attaway, oh my god, this man. He's Arcadios in Fairy Tail and Salted Vigor in the Stack World. But if you've ever been somewhere on Broadway at some given point in time, you might have heard him as the genie in Aladdin on Broadway. So I know which way this conversation is gonna go, but let's start, shall we?
I specifically put Tron Travolta in here just so we could talk about Major Attaway.
Okay, so here's the thing. About this character guide that I made. So I had y'all choose 4 or 5 characters. We ended up choosing 6. We all had a mind meld at some point. So me and Megan picked Todd Travolta to talk about him because 1, he's just a fucking fun character, and 2, how often are we ever going to talk about Major Attaway?
We don't get to talk about Major Attaway ever, so Major Attaway fucking steals the entire episode as Tron.
Yes.
It is the funkiest, most upbeat thing ever. He is absolutely fantastic. It is one of the highlight, just one-off characters of the show. I'm gonna be real, I could not tell that Ferdinand was Kyle Hebert, nor that Poe was Elizabeth Maxwell. They were fantastic, and Kyle Hebert delivers absolutely one of the other most creepy speeches in the show. Where, like, at one point he reaches and takes off Dandy's face and it's holding his face up to his skull.
Oh god,
and it's so fucking good. And I really wish that they would let Kyle Hebert do more characters like that. And that juxtaposed to Elizabeth Maxwell's so quiet and childish Poe, who is just this being that saw the world tear itself apart because they hated each other and watched it fall into this, like, bourgeoisie, like, anti-death hell. And she has this very quiet and powerful moment in, like, the most quiet and powerful moment of Space Dandy as a show. And it's one of the most visually stunning episodes of the show. And then there's Johnny.
Here's Johnny.
There's Johnny. I love that when he does that in the last episode. Jet and I know that this is probably making fun of a certain, record executive in Japan.
Yeah, it is probably
this is
a jab at them.
This is probably a jab at Johnny's music label.
You know what? That would definitely make sense. I mean,
it has to be.
To the point that they even list a character designer for him in his episode.
Johnny is this, like, sparkling douchebag rocker. He's like Honey, but Honey is, actually self-aware, he's not. And I love the fact that he is just this, like, douchey rocker guy who's also a prince.
Wait just a darn minute. His whole thing is wanting to be a musician and not being able to, like, go to the Emperor to, like, actually practice singing, and it's just kind of mostly going off his looks. Man, this really is just making fun of Johnny. So,
Yup! Yeah, like, I love the scene where he's like, I'm waiting for the music to come to me, and he's just in the park. and he grows the beard. It's like, yeah, this isn't how it works. And then there's just like fucking Meow and QT are just like, we had time to practice. So overall, I really like all their performances, but as much as Johnny Young Bosch kind of tries to steal and hams it up as Johnny, I think really Kyle and Elizabeth really stole it with being in arguably the best episode. And just having Major Attaway get to do anything is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Major Attaway was a lot of fun as a Tron Travolta here. He had a lot of energy and spice in performance, and he bounced off of Vince and Clear standing really well. And that whole episode was just a really fun, if kind of very on time. And I dug it a lot. And Kyle Hebert is Ferdinand and Elizabeth Maxwell is Poe. Admittedly, even though I've heard Kyle Hebert do that kind of voice before, for some reason it didn't quite click to me that it was Kyle. I actually, until I read the credits, actually thought it was Sunny Street.
Oh wow!
I thought Kyle did a good job of making Ferdinand sound like very unsettling, but not in the same way Ukulele Man, where like this character is like clearly dangerous. It's like Ferdinand doesn't. You can tell Ferdinand doesn't exactly mean harm, but he is just kind of like very creepy. To which on a very unrelated, to which I don't know if it has like nothing to do with their performance specifically, but it's just a thing I really like about that particular episode. Man, I really want to shake the hand of like whoever thought it was a good idea to just have like Space Oompa Loompas singing about how everyone should accept their immortality.
Oh yeah, that part was great. The little like weird worm pandas singing about that.
Yeah.
The entropy song.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Imagine Madoka Magica the musical where Kyubey has a song about entropy.
Yeah, that was great. I like Kyle Hebert a lot, and then like contrasting that with Elizabeth Maxwell, who sounded like a very soft-spoken and quiet as Poe, but did a really good job of kind of getting across the tragedy of the character kind of being very alone because she saw her world get devastated by war, and now she's just kind of alone. So she's very taken with Dandy, who is just kind of like who by this point is just kind of already transcended death because they really did a good job of foreshadowing that twist the entire time. They bounce off each other really well. And Johnny Boss is Johnny, like, you can just tell, like, the moment they saw this character design and they saw the name, they were like, get Johnny and Boss on the phone. I'm kind of disappointed.
Ring, ring. Hello, Mr. Bosch. I know you have backstroke for days, but can we borrow you?
Yeah, admittedly, given the musical theme of the episode, I'm a little disappointed that Johnny and Bosch didn't get to sing himself, but, like, now knowing that this was probably a Johnny's reference, I think that was probably the point, and that just really adds to the joke. It's amazing.
That's like a trifecta right there, man.
But he does a good job of making Johnny come off as like this very self-important guy who is clearly like not used to the ways of the world, but also has like a weirdly high opinion of himself as like a wannabe musician, and just kind of assumes things will work out for him. And then
because he's hot.
Yeah, because he's hot, and like somehow they do, which is kind of funny in its own way, and then it kind of backfires, and them kind of going out and single and boys and boy, which was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole episode was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's very much a lot of fun. So, I think I'm just gonna do these in pairs. Ferdinand and Poe, Kylie Bell and Elizabeth Maxwell. Yeah, Kylie Bell was much like Bryce Papenburg. He was slightly another because he talked with like this deep kind of voice. Like you couldn't tell if like he was supposed. I don't know what the motivation was. Like if he was supposed to pretend to be drunk or like just like have like an oxygen deficiency or something. But the fact that his character is revealed to be, I guess, the emissary of death, if you will, that kind of puts it to guide you through limbo. It was very neat. I didn't realize about the whole limbo thing until he talked about the little black box thing in his hands, and the whole time you can't find QT or Meow anywhere. And then Elizabeth Maxwell's Paul, which the last time I heard her do a voice like that, I think there was Nikki from Cab Cab who sounded like that, and even then I couldn't believe it was Elizabeth Maxwell because, like I said, this was like a platform for a lot of rising stars who become bigger names later on. And I think Elizabeth Maxwell was one of them because she was just up and coming at that time too.
I think, yeah, because this would be before I think Noragami would come out, and P5 was still a couple years away, and so was Titan, I think, because she was was Elizabeth Maxwell? Yeah, she was, no, that was Morgan Garrett. I thought Elizabeth Maxwell was a decent part of Attack on Titan. I think I'm remembering it wrong.
I feel like she is, but I can't remember which character she is.
Oh, right, she is! She's fucking Ymir, that's why. How can I betray my own favorite character?
I mean, in fairness, you could betray her any harder than Ichiyama did.
Oh, Jed, I owe you a fucking beer for that one. Oh man, so many women got done dirty in that series. Anyway, no, go ahead, Jed, if you're, Jamal, sorry, I didn't mean to take your thing over.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, so the fact that she kind of just helps out this guy because she realized she's a being that could never be with her, that kind of thing. So she decides to help him out of love. And then you kind of, once you get to like towards the end of the episode, you realize what exactly the whole deal was. I think you did describe that. It was like what it was a antagonism between her and Ferdinand. I think that's what you
kinda.
It looked that way, but then it looked like they kind of just reconciled after a while because she gets up on that trap herself, and the face that she's happy to see most is Dandy. So it's like in a way she consigned herself to a fate, but it's like fate had something else in store for her. But I have to watch the episode to get to understand, but I did find that was kind of touching. And then we get to, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Johnny as Johnny, portraying Johnny. Yeah, because I thought it was kind of apropos, because I thought, you know, kind of like what they did with Terry Donia, the Assassination Class, but I thought they literally followed Johnny, just like decided to model him as like kind of a Johnny, but anti-Johnny. What's funny is in the Caribbean, Johnny is a different kind of term, but I'm not going to say what it is on the internet, because I forgot what it means, and it's probably not good. But Johnny's tons of fun, and like, especially even if they had that one song to say, it was enjoyable nonetheless. And yeah, with all the anime references and stuff, it was very apropos, because I think this was after Code Geass, now I think about it, but at least he was less of a dick than Lelouch was. But it was still surprised. It was still nice to see him in the very last episode. But
here's Johnny.
Speaking of Johnny, I'm sorry, Todd Travolta. Oh man, I think pretty much he kind of just, I guess in a way, steals the series, even if it's like not completely connected. Because, and it's gonna be weird when I say this, but hear me out. To me, he sounds like a less scratchy David Wald, and the reason I say that is because I've been watching the Fruit of Evolution recently, which thanks to you guys, Meme, it is like.
I did not meme that into existence. Don't you put that evil on me.
Oh, I'm not putting it on you, but he knows who he is. Anyway, I've been watching the dub, and I came across this skull face dude that apparently turns out was a jilted lover or something. And I thought that was David Wall, and then the director told me that was Major. I was like, wait a minute, that's him? Holy shit. So I went back to watch this episode again. It was like, I could kind of hear it, but I could kind of not. But I know Major had been out of the game since then. At least I thought he was until now, because I thought to myself, please let me talk about him, because I don't know when I'm ever going to get a chance to talk about him ever again. And then he shows up in Food Evolution, a main border, the borderline, whatever that show is. Anyway, he's very impressive and very high maintenance and high energetic. Especially when you see his dancing videos on his Twitter of him in his Aladdin outfit, which I don't think he's playing the genie anymore. So, but
if he was, I think he was on the traveling show.
That would make sense.
I think he was part of the traveling cast.
That would make sense, but then again, I'm not really into musicals as much as some of y'all. So, but he did very great as a. I mean, pretty much everybody here did very well. And I think before we get to final thoughts, we can bring this back around full circle and talk about the Aloha Oi one more time. Because I think if you haven't noticed by now that Daddy shows up in all these episodes, even though he dies in most of them.
And he sleeps his way through one.
Ah, yes, the Law and Order episode.
Dun.
Which, by the way, that was Townsend Jaffe and Michael Sinton Nicholas as the two prosecutors. I thought that was Eric Vale in another role for a second, but no. That was
I could tell right away that was Michael Sinton Nicholas. I didn't know who the other one was.
I couldn't figure out who the other one was. Just all I know is they did their best deliverance.
Yeah. But yeah, it turns out that the whole reason for this is because Daddy has the ability to access huge amounts of an element called Pionium, which allows him to transcend verses. Not warping as like he described in the episode 24, where he says that a warping doesn't actually exist because traveling between two universes is what they call warping, but it's not warping. It's just basically the way to describe it is this. I guess the Schrodinger's cat kind of thing kind of works if you know about Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, I guess it's just like Daddy travels to parallel worlds and replaces him in that world, essentially.
Or if you ever seen a really old TV show called 7 Days, it's something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you seen it? Anyway, I just find that through all his journeys that his growth was kind of impressive, even though he ended up resetting the universe and porting a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. For what it's worth, Daddy and Aloha Oi, the crew of the Aloha Oi were very spectacular throughout the entire series. I just love the show so very much, and I think, having said that, I think it's time to go to the final daddies, that is the final thoughts. So, what did you guys think of this show?
I'll go first. So, overall, I don't know, just personally thoughts about the show. I don't know if people had actually overhyped it for me. Because when I was done, I was like, yeah, that was an enjoyable part of my time. This isn't a 10 out of 10, quote-unquote peak show. It's just very good, and I do think there are some times where they relied a little bit too much on Dai Saito's writing, because Dai Saito is very hit and miss.
That first episode had me fucking drowsy.
Dai Saito writes more than a few episodes of this show, and let's just say, after what I was told how the first Eureka 7 rebuild movie went, I kind of lost a lot of respect for Dai Saito. Because it was genuinely one of the most fuck you things I had ever heard of. Dub-wise, this is a really good dub. And I think that beyond being a really good and really fun dub with a lot of characters is that this is the dub that 100% changed how we consume English dubs. And in a lot of cases, it isn't very good what it changed. I enjoy simuldubs, but I think that there's a lot of things that simuldubbing has caused overall that have become, I think, unhealthy. Whether it be super tight super tight production times. Genuinely, I think that the best part of the simuldub era was when we were under record at home and stuff was coming out inconsistently, but it was coming out and it was really good quality. Unfortunately, and I will say this, a lot of anime fans, especially dub fans, are kind of entitled, and I don't think that they were ever going to be used to the way that it used to be before Space Dandy, and that kind of sucks, because I wish it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I can't knock what was produced out of Space Dandy as anything other than, like, a really good dub, because it's really good. It's just, for better or for worse, it changed the way that English dubs exist in the current day.
You know, I could definitely see where you're coming from, because I remember Patrick said, I forget what it was. He was I think it was on Twitter. He said something about, like, if he didn't know that simuldubbing would turn out this way, he never would have volunteered for Space Dandy or something like that. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to find the tweet or whatever it was I was listening to. It was a long time ago, but yeah. So, yeah, is that your final dandy? Or?
Yeah, that's my final dandy.
All right, Jet.
Yeah, I think, it was fun getting to revisit this show after a good few 8 years. Man, I feel old. But it was a pretty fun time. I like this show. It's not like one of my personal favorites, but it's a show I deeply respect, because even if not like every episode necessarily hits always, I just appreciate that a show like this was just like allowed to exist at all, because it's just like a pretty big animator's playground, and like you never know what you're gonna get with each episode. It's always something new and different, and there are a lot of just really fun creatives on this show, including some names that would go on to be pretty big. Like, okay, like no one really knew who Shingo Natsume was before Space Dandy, and now Shingo Natsume is like a pretty big name in the industry.
Shingo Natsume has also animated 2 of my favorite shows of like the last, 5 or 6 years at this point now too.
Yeah, I mean, this show has a lot of who's who of what's what the Japanese stuff, because I know the mechanical designer for the show, the guy that designed all the robots and stuff, was Thomas for Maid, I think, a Code Lyoko fame.
He did some stuff on Code Lyoko, I think. I know he did, and I know he definitely did some stuff on Oban Star Racers.
I think he is the Oban Star Racers guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he just straight up is the Oban Star Racers creator.
No, he's not the creator, but I know he was part of the staff. The creator is like another Thomas.
Oh, yeah, he's, no, it was, Savin Yata Eiffel created it. But yeah, he was a huge part of that. I thought I'm gonna sound really weird, but did Thomas was he also the French guy who worked on Pop Team Epic, or was that a different French guy?
That was a different French guy.
I love that guy. I hope he comes back in season 2.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is a show I like deeply respect, got to exist, and it's great. And as for the dub is a lot of fun. I did think it had like maybe a couple of growing pains early on, but I definitely thought it improved a lot with time. And considering this was like the big pioneer of simuldubs, I think as a whole it came together pretty well as a product. And yeah, in a sense, I think that while simuldubbing was a pretty like big step towards for the industry, it's definitely one that's kind of come with its own share of problems because now it's just kind of become the norm, and sometimes, and a lot of times, it can be pretty hard for productions to kind of like keep up with that, and we aren't. And while we're still getting like pretty good products in spite of the circumstances, stuff isn't always coming out as well as it could. So,
man,
yeah. Did something happen?
Yeah, but
I know what Jamal might have seen, so I'm sorry, dude.
But I liked Space Dandy. It's a good show, good dub. Definitely big impact on the industry. I guess your mile it's may vary on exactly how much good it did for the industry overall.
Is that your final dandy? Alright.
Yeah, that would be my final dandy.
Yeah, so when I first started watching this show, boy, did I know I was going to be in for a rude awakening, because 2014 was a hell of a year for me. So when I came across this show, it kind of lifted me up in ways I didn't expect. To the point that, like, this was one BDT before Dub Talk. I didn't expect my life to change so soon right after that. It's like, they were on the verge of something groundbreaking, but at the same time, it's like, they still had their limitations and understanding of what to deal with going forward. I think it was also to the point that, like, it got to be too much to the point that, like, people were speculating that that Funimation was about to go bankrupt on a certain powerhouse series, but that's none of my business. What is my business, however, is how much this show is awesome and how much that more people need to watch this show. And from beginning to end, the dub is spectacular. The show has its moments, but hey, I'm willing to roll with the punches. So, that having been said, Space Dandy, it needs more love. I mean, for God's sakes, it's a bold show, and I think it's funny because there were some moments where, like, I see fist fights and stuff, and Micah said that Bolt seems to love punching for some reason, but it's neither here nor there. It's just, this is a show you need to check out as soon as you get the chance, whenever you get the chance. And if you want to check out the show for yourself, there are multiple ways you can do it. Right now, you can get our Blu-ray and DVD from Right Stuff, Best Buy, wherever you buy your local anime. Or if you're a schmuck like me, you could buy it from an out-of-state card while meeting up with your friends, even though Hardy told you never buy an anime from a card.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Ironically enough, I've seen that vendor before here in South Florida. Twitch,
Oh, I know exactly who you brought it from then.
Yeah. Twitch, now that I think about it, I did not know Mizuka was also this weekend, and Katie Mills had to catch.
I saw that, and I was like, oh, and then, oh no, he would have been so happy.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Like I said, buy the Blu-ray. If you want to stream it, right now it's archived on Funimation.com for God knows how long. It now just moved over to Crunchyroll as well. Both sub and dub. Maybe someday I'll check out the sub, but who knows. But as for us and what we get up to, we're the Dub Talk Podcast. We can be found on our media platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, basically the like. We have a Ko-fi and a Patreon account. Twitch, if you want to support us, you can send us a coffee through Ko-fi, or for $5 on Patreon, we'll get you at least a shout out on air. To which we like to thank Megan's mom and dad, Michelle Travis, Nico Robin, but with Yowie heads, and Victor May Baroda. But if you upgrade to the $10 tier, you'll have a chance to enter to our quarterly raffle, which by the time this episode comes out might be happening or it might be closed. To which, please be sensible with your choices for episodes, because well, not every choice is gonna make it, and some episodes we may not like, or some episodes we might not criticize. You know, that's just how we roll. We do what we like, and what we do. But if for our $10 tier, we have Anthony Brown, Carly Leistercow, Crimson Kinder, Jacob Wilson, Jared Hawkins, Julia W., Marissa Lenti, and Otaku Anthony. Thank you all for supporting us on Patreon. As for us, I can be found on my personal Twitter, Jamstar529. No, that is not a random series of numbers. Yes, that's actually my birthday.
Which was today. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday again.
Thank you. I like hiding in plain sight. I can also be found on my YouTube at Jamstar1. I'm an assistant editor for this podcast. I've been trying to do a solo podcast for the longest while, but you know, shit happens. But all in all, we have a good time here. And if you two would like to plug yourselves.
Sure. I am Jet. You can find me on Twitter at @DivineMega, where I'll usually just be talking about like anime, cartoons, news, whatever is going on, I guess. You can also find me on another podcast on A, where I'll usually be doing debriefs about anime news alongside fellow Dumb Talkers Andrew. And I also write things for ANN sometimes.
Hi, my name is Megan. You can follow me at Queenera2. I usually shitpost on the regular, and I hang out on a couple Discords, including Funimation and Anime Domes.
Nice. Any final words before we head out? Before we blast off into space, I mean?
It's all about that bass. The booty.
It's all about that booty. No tits, please. Actually, no.
Guys, I have only one thing to say. Come out to the bucket with me. Okay. Now, I should have did it with a Johnny Bravo accent, but it's like too late. I'm tired.
It's fine. I'll do the monkey with you. Oh my god, I'm so sore. I'm old. I'm doing the motions and you can't see them, but I'm tired and sore, so it hurts.
And from all of us here at Dub Talk, good night, otaku on, and keep going with the flow, baby.